Chapter 3246. 3,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. For 3,000 years, Longao had never come out of seclusion. He had been cultivating in seclusion, hoping to break through the chaos life and death realm and reach the chaos reincarnation realm. But the result? In the cave, a heavy sigh followed. Longao's figure had just appeared when Qin Shuangshuang and Five Elements' old ancestor appeared. Qin Shuangshuang couldn't wait to ask, "Brother Long, you broke through?" Five Elements' old ancestor was also very excited. Although Dragon Sect already had Qin Shuangshuang, a Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist, there was still a gap between her strength and other Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists. If Master's cultivation could recover to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm, then it would be another concept. Longao's face was very ugly. Not to mention breaking through to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm, he couldn't even merge the Tao of life and death. No, 3,000 years. He thought he could do it in 100 years. But the result? What exactly went wrong? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. There were still 5,000 years before the Chaos Tao would descend again. At that time, if he couldn't prove his Tao, it was still unknown whether he could survive. Only 5,000 years. According to this cultivation speed, even Longao didn't have the slightest confidence to break through to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm in 5,000 years. Qin Shuangshuang and Five Elements' old ancestor were completely dumbfounded. With Longao's talent and potential, how could he not recover to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm in 3,000 years? What was going on? Five Elements' old ancestor didn't dare to say anything. He just stood quietly by the side. Qin Shuangshuang said at this time, "Brother Long, do you know the reason?" He nodded. "I roughly guessed it. Because of the Chaos Sacred Body?" Seeing Longao nodding, Qin Shuangshuang sighed in her heart. She had already guessed that if there was no accident, Brother Long couldn't break through to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. It must be related to the Chaos Sacred Body. Qin Shuangshuang also didn't know what to do with the Chaos Sacred Body. The Chaos Sacred Body, the legendary number 1 sacred body in the Chaos Realm. No one could have such a heaven-defying physique. Until this moment, she had never thought that Brother Long would be able to condense the chaotic sacred body in this life. Good? Is it bad? Without the chaotic sacred body, with Brother Long's talent and potential, Brother Long would be able to return to the chaotic reincarnation realm in 300 years, let alone 3,000 years. But now? It was precisely because of the chaotic samsara sacred physique that Brother Long's cultivation was unable to break through for a long time. Five Elements. What's the matter? At this time, Longao thought of the Five Elements' old ancestor who was standing on the side. Under normal circumstances, the Five Elements' old ancestor would not come here. Even if he came out of seclusion, only the two of them could come. It seemed that something had happened to the sect. Within 3,000 years, the Dragon Sect began to withdraw from the fight for the position of Overlord of the Chaos Realm, but they continued to occupy the Blackstone Heavenly region. Once, Mo Wu Tian came alone, but was scared away by Longao's 9 Heavens 10 Earths killing array and never returned. Pill Hall, Domain Lord Alliance, and Devil Palace. After 3,000 years of life and death struggle, the 3 super forces had all given up. The reason was simple. The 3 super forces had suffered great losses, and thus divided the world into 3. It seemed to have returned to the previous situation. After all, in the past, the Chaos Realm was a tripartite balance of power. The only difference now was that the Devil Palace's power had not only expanded greatly, but also occupied the first heavenly region. No matter what, the first heavenly region had always been the Pill Hall and the Domain Lord Alliance. First, he bowed respectfully and then said, "Master, in the past few hundred years, Gu Hao has appeared again, and he has risen to power." Gu Hao? Hearing this name, Longao's heart moved. The previous Gu Hao had not recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, so he had no choice but to retreat. Now that Gu Hao had appeared once again, and even wanted to compete with the 3 super forces for the position of Overlord of the Chaos Realm, there was no need to guess. Longao already knew that as long as nothing unexpected happened, The current Guhao seemed to have successfully recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Longao had always been fearful of Guhao. After all, before he had reached the primal chaos reincarnation realm, Guhao had already roamed the chaos realm for who knew how many years. It seemed that Guhao's strength should be on the same level as the slaughter god Duanmujin. Continue. Longao was not an idiot. Guhao's appearance at this time would definitely cause chaos in the chaos realm. As expected. Master, just 100 years ago, Guhao suddenly exerted his power and began to suppress the three super forces. Furthermore, Imo Wutian, Songya, and Han Wu joined hands to fight against Guhao and fought in the 9 heavens void of the first heavenly region. Longao was very surprised. He never thought that in order to deal with Guhao, Imo Wutian and the other two would join hands. It seemed that the three of them discovered that Guhao's deterrence was too great. Otherwise, how could Imo Wutian and the other two join hands? It seemed that he had underestimated Guhao. How was the battle? This was what Longao was concerned about. After all, whether Guhao won or lost was too important. What he was afraid of came true. The 5 elements' old ancestor also sighed endlessly and said, "Sect Master, Guhao's strength is too strong." Back then, that battle was earth-shattering, and I was also present. In a situation where Guhao fought 1 against 3, he finally defeated Imo Wutian and the other 2. As expected, just what did Guhao obtain? Why was his strength so strong? However, Longao also knew that although Guhao had defeated the 3 of them, it was still a bit unrealistic for him to completely kill the 3 of them. Otherwise, how could Guhao choose to give up so easily? After all, as long as he killed the 3 of them, Guhao would be able to easily dominate the entire Chaos Realm. But even so, for Guhao to be able to defeat the 3 of them, as long as nothing unexpected happened, Guhao would be the #1 power in the Chaos Realm in the future. However, in the end, Master, after Guhao defeated the 3 of them, he suddenly disappeared. He hasn't appeared for dozens of years. The current Chaos Realm is still dominated by the Pill Hall, the Domain Lord's Alliance, and the Devil Palace. Until now, the 5 elements' old ancestor still couldn't figure out why the Master didn't allow the Dragon Su sect to fight for the position of Overlord, and even hid in the Black Stone Heaven domain. He really couldn't figure out what was going on. However, the 5 elements' old ancestor didn't ask, because he was very clear about what he should ask and what he shouldn't ask in his position. He believed that the Master definitely had his own plans, and he only needed to do his job well. There was no need to say anything else. Chapter 3247. Brother Long, what's going on with Guhao? Regarding Guhao, Qin Shuangshuang did not know, and had only heard Longao mention it once or twice. However, Qin Shuangshuang was not an idiot. To be able to defeat the combined forces of Imo Wutian and the other 2, it was obvious how powerful Guhao was. If it was anyone else, then so be it. Only Guhao. Of course, Qin Shuangshuang knew that there was a grudge between Guhao and Brother Long. The stronger Guhao was, the more disadvantageous it would be for Brother Long's own Duanmujin was already troublesome enough, and now there was another Guhao. I'm fine. Longao didn't want to say more. Different situations call for different actions. In any case, he had the 9 heavens 10 earths killing formation. As long as he borrowed the power of the entire Black Stone heavenly region, he would be able to contend against Guhao. There was no need to worry. Seeing that Brother Long was unwilling to say anything, Qin Shuangshuang was very worried and did not continue to ask. Master, what should we do now? Wait and see. The battle between Guhao and the 3 primal chaos reincarnation warriors, and the fact that he was defeated by Guhao, had long since shaken the entire chaos realm. As for why Guhao suddenly disappeared, everyone had different opinions. One was that Guhao had already broken through the primal chaos reincarnation realm and succeeded in proving his Tao. The second was that Guhao had fought a great battle with the 3 primal chaos reincarnation warriors. Although he had defeated the 3 of them in the end, he had also suffered heavy injuries and had gone into hiding to recuperate. The third was that Guhao was secretly plotting to dominate the chaos realm. In any case, Longao did not care about any of the various theories, but he was still on guard at all times. Under normal circumstances, since Guhao's cultivation had already recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, why didn't he come to deal with him? This was an inexplicable question. What was going on? His intuition told him that things were definitely not that simple. Something must have happened to Gu Hao. Not only Gu Hao, even Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician seem to have not appeared in the past 3,000 years. 3,000 years of closed-door cultivation. Although his cultivation did not successfully break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, it was not like he had gained nothing. Longao's 7th cycle of the reincarnation sacred art had already smoothly reached the 9th stage. He only had one last step, and he would be able to break through the pinnacle of the reincarnation sacred art, which was the so-called transcendence. The 4th ability, reincarnation. The peak was surpassed by reincarnation. Longao had never thought that he would be able to comprehend the 9 heavens of reincarnation before breaking through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. This would have been impossible in the past, but now, until now, Longao still couldn't figure out what was going on. However, Longao had full confidence in his 4th sacred art, reincarnation. If he could break through the 4th sacred art, reincarnation, then even if he couldn't defeat Mo Wutian and the others, he believed that he wouldn't be completely helpless. The final step was easier said than done. It was easy to think about it, but it was extremely difficult to truly comprehend it. Brother Long, are you looking for me? Nodding, Longao smiled and said, Shuang Shuang. Although you can't cultivate my 9 revolutions chaos domain, after 3,000 years of continuous research, I finally created a cultivation technique for you according to the 9 revolutions chaos domain. As long as you cultivate it, although I can't guarantee that you'll really succeed in confirming your Tao, there's no way to reach the peak of primal chaos reincarnation realm. It was a pleasant surprise. If he could break through to the peak of primal chaos reincarnation realm, that would definitely be the best thing. Qin Shuang didn't mention it before, but that didn't mean that he didn't know the reason. After all, she was very clear about what it meant if her cultivation successfully broke through to the peak of primal chaos reincarnation realm. Brother Long, what cultivation technique is it? According to the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, I've developed a chaos 3 birth mantra for you. In the following time, Qin Shuang immediately cultivated the chaos 3 birth mantra with all her might. She had to admit that the cultivation technique Longao had developed was too suitable for Qin Shuang. In a short few months, Qin Shuang's strength had increased greatly. Even if she were to face Mo Wutian and the others, in a one-on-one situation, Qin Shuang would not lose. It was a pleasant surprise. Gu Hao still hadn't appeared, and Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician seemed to have evaporated into thin air. Only Mo Wutian, Sangya, and Han Wu remained, preparing to continue the battle. Things had already reached this point. If you didn't die, then I would. It was just that Sangya and Han Wu were unable to kill Mo Wutian. This was the key point. If it was just Mo Wutian alone, then with the two of them joining hands, it was still very possible to kill Mo Wutian. However, Mo Wutian had the candle Yin beast by his side. In a 2-against-2 situation, no one could do anything to the other. Should he interfere? The current Black Stone heavenly region was no longer the same as before. Even if his cultivation had not recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, with the protection of the 9 heavens 10 earths killing array, he was not afraid of the primal chaos reincarnation realm warriors coming. Master, you're looking for me? Looking at the master in front of him, 5 Elements old ancestor was very curious. He didn't know why the master was suddenly looking for him. Longao thought for a moment and asked, Do you think we should make a move now? 5 Elements old ancestor naturally knew what the master meant. If it was in the past, he would have answered without hesitation. But now, 5 Elements old ancestor didn't even think about it and said, Master, now is not the time to make a move. Now that the Pill Hall and the Domain Lords Alliance have joined hands and are fighting to the death with the Devil Palace, if we interfere now, it won't do us any good. Longao naturally knew what 5 Elements old ancestor meant. If they just wanted to fight for the primal chaos realm, then it would be best to do so. They could watch the fire from the other side and wait until both sides were injured before he brought the dragon sect to intervene. However, Longao wasn't thinking about this. He was mainly preparing to deal with Mo Wutian first. As for whether or not he could dominate the primal chaos realm, Longao didn't care at all. His goal was the same as the other primal chaos reincarnation cultivators. They all wanted to prove their Tao. However, Longao didn't say anything to Five Elements' old ancestor. He knew very well that Five Elements' old ancestor was sincerely doing this for the Dragon Sect. Their goals were different, so he wouldn't blame Five Elements' old ancestor. Just do as you said. We won't make a move for now. After Five Elements' old ancestor left, Longao's expression became more and more serious. He had to end this quickly. Only by killing Imo Wutian could he eliminate all future troubles. In addition, there was also the matter of the Judas. After all, as long as he could gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, he could open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Most importantly, once he subdued the Judas and gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, then the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts would very likely prove their Tao. Longao knew very well what it meant for the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts to prove their Tao. Chapter 32-48. The First Heavenly Region. Longao stepped into the First Heavenly Region secretly because he wanted to see the situation of the Devil Palace. As long as Imo Wutian was still alive, Longao would never feel at ease. He felt helpless. The Devil Palace's base camp was in the First Heavenly Region. No matter if it was the Pill Hall or the Domain Lords Alliance, the two super forces wanted to take back their territories. But what was the result? The Devil Palace did not take a step back. In the end, the two super forces could not take a step forward. The situation before. The Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall occupied the First Heavenly Region, while the Devil Palace hid in the Second Heavenly Region. But now, the situation was reversed. The Devil Palace occupied the entire First Heavenly Region, while the Domain Lords Alliance and the Pill Hall occupied the Second Heavenly Region. 10 years to the east, 10 years to the west. Some things were really unpredictable. If someone said that the Devil Palace could defeat the two super forces and occupy the First Heavenly Region before, no one would believe it. It was complete nonsense. It was something that was impossible, but it actually happened at this moment. Have you heard that a peerless treasure has appeared in our First Heavenly Region? What treasure? I don't know what treasure it is, but I heard that countless experts have arrived from various heavenly regions. There are even chaos reincarnation experts among them. Everyone exclaimed when they heard about chaos reincarnation experts. After all, everyone knew what it meant to be a chaos reincarnation expert. Because of this, everyone could not figure out what treasure it was that could provoke chaos reincarnation experts to fight for it. Since chaos reincarnation experts are fighting for it, wouldn't it be suicide for others to fight for it? Treasures belong to those who are fated. Don't you understand such a simple principle? After hearing this, Longao nodded in his heart to express his agreement. Treasures belong to those who are fated. It did not mean that one's strength could obtain it. Longao was also very curious. Just what kind of treasure was it that caused such a huge commotion? He was very curious. Do you know where it is? Damn, except for you. Everyone knows. It's at the Heaven Connecting Peak. Tongtian Peak? Naturally, Longao was no stranger to the Heaven's Link Peak. It was known as the tallest mountain in the entire Primal Chaos realm. It was said that standing at the foot of the Heaven's Link Peak, one would not be able to see the peak of the Heaven's Link Peak. It was as though one was sitting on clouds. Longao had wanted to see how Wutian and Judas were faring, but his curiosity was piqued. He wanted to see what sort of treasure was hidden in Skyfall Peak. After putting on a disguise, Zhang Xian immediately headed for the Heaven Connecting Peak. As expected, Longao had just arrived at the sky-piercing peak when he saw countless martialists staring intently at the sky-piercing peak. However, no one dared to set foot on it. As for whether or not there were Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists, Longao did not dare to be certain. Even he couldn't do anything about deliberately concealing one's aura. What was going on? Why didn't anyone set foot on Tongtian Peak? Very soon, Longao had already discovered that something was wrong. It wasn't that everyone was unwilling to set foot on Tongtian Peak. It turned out that Tongtian Peak was surrounded by a layer of qi. No matter who it was, they couldn't touch it. Otherwise, they would immediately be killed by the qi. It was shocking. Longao could clearly sense that the qi around Tongtian Peak was so thick that not even primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists could touch it. Longao stood quietly in the crowd, listening to all the chatter. What kind of treasure is this? Tongtian Peak is suddenly covered by a layer of qi. No one can set foot on it, not even primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists. It's incredible. No one knows. However, the only thing that is certain is that this heaven-defying treasure of heaven-connecting peak is something that even chaos reincarnation cultivators would covet. I don't know about the others, but Lord Emo Wu Tian, Lord Han Wu, and Lord Songya have all arrived. I just saw the three of them. His heart skipped a beat. It seemed that all three of them were here. The more they were here, the more Longao couldn't figure out what kind of treasure it was that could attract so many primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artists. I don't know when the gift will open, but many people say that it will take no more than 3 months for the sky-piercing peak's qi to disappear. When the treasure appears, I'm afraid countless people will die. 3 months? Longao had already guessed that the treasures in the Tongtian Peak were heaven-defying enough. Then, it would definitely lead to a reign of terror. Although the treasures would be obtained by the fated people, but before that, countless lives would fall in order to achieve a certain person. Longao did not leave. Instead, he chose to stay because he also wanted to see what kind of treasure the Tongtian Peak had. Besides that, since Wu Tianmo and Judas were already here, it would be best to take advantage of the absence of Nangong Yin and the clairvoyant to subjugate Judas. As long as he could draw them away, Longao was confident that he could use the beast diagram and the power of the 9 primal chaos beasts to subjugate Judas in one fell swoop. The most important thing now was to lock onto Wu Tianmo and Judas. Han Wu? Songya? Longao suddenly sensed the traces of the two people, smiled, and immediately rushed over. You're Longao? Both Han Wu and Songya were shocked when they saw the young man who suddenly appeared in front of them. They didn't expect that Longao, who had disappeared for 3,000 years, hadn't successfully recovered his primal chaos reincarnation realm. According to Longao's talent and potential, it was impossible. Was this true? But after repeated probing, they realized that Longao was indeed in the chaos realm. They couldn't help but sigh. Almost everyone had returned to the chaos realm. Only Longao hadn't. Was this really the same genius they used to know?
Yes.
Longao, what's the matter with you? Longao knew what they were asking, but he couldn't tell them about his chaos body. Helplessly, he said, There's a problem with my 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex. It's preventing me from breaking through. That's 5,000 years from now. We'll talk about it later. Seeing that Longao was unwilling to talk about it, the two of them did not continue to ask. Instead, they said, It seems that you are also here for that item. However, there are countless experts now. Just the chaotic reincarnation martial artists alone are no less than a dozen. Among them, there are also old seniors. If we want to obtain the treasure, it will not be an easy task. Longao, if you're willing, we can work together for now. Once we get the treasure, the 3 of us can test it out. No matter who controls it, the treasure will belong to them. What do you say? Chapter 3249. It made sense. Would Longao agree? Longao nodded. I have no problem with that, but I would like to ask you two to help me with something. I will repay this favor in the future. Looking at Longao's solemn expression, the two of them were truly shocked. What was it? They weren't fools. One was more cunning than the other. What is it? They didn't agree immediately. If Longao's request was within their power, they wouldn't hesitate. But if Longao's request was something they couldn't do, it would be embarrassing to agree now. How could Longao not know what the two of them were thinking? I would like to ask you two to help me kill Emo Wutian. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have guessed Longao's request would be something like this. They knew of the grudge between Longao and Emo Wutian. Longao, if you return to your samsara state, the 3 of us can work together to suppress Mo Wutian and Judas. But for now, if they could kill Emo Wutian, they would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? Easier said than done. It was almost impossible. Emo Wutian wasn't alone. He had the Judas by his side. That was the key. Longao, of course, knew what the two of them were worried about. Without even thinking, he said, "The two of you, the reason why Mo Wu Tian is still standing is because he has the Candle Shadow Beast by his side. If we can destroy the Candle Shadow Beast first, then we can deal with Mo Wu Tian." At this point, Long Ao's words did not continue, but the meaning in his words was already very clear. The two were shocked. They weren't fools. If Long Ao dared to say something like this, then he must have thought of a way to deal with Mo Wu Tian and the Judas. If they could kill one man and one beast, then they would be pleasantly surprised. If Mo Wu Tian died, then the Demon Palace would be destroyed. When the time came, the Pill Hall and the Domain Lord Alliance could once again dominate the Primal Chaos Realm and divide the world equally. Brother Long, what should we do? Since things had already come to this, Long Ao would definitely not hide anything. He thought for a moment. The two of you, as long as you can stall Mo Wu Tian for me, I have full confidence in destroying the Candle Shade Divine Beast. Looking at Long Ao's confident face, the two of them naturally wouldn't doubt him. As the most talented Primal Chaos Samsara martial artist back then, Long Ao definitely had a trump card. All right, we have no problem with that. In just a few minutes, the three of them had reached an agreement. At this moment, Long Ao seemed to have thought of something and asked, "What kind of treasure appeared on the Tongtian Peak? Don't you know?" Long Ao shook his head, indicating that he did not know. He had only come to deal with Mo Wu Tian, and had only just found out about the Heaven's Link Peak. Han Wu and Sangya glanced at each other, and Han Wu said, "Long Ao, you definitely won't know what kind of treasure will appear on the Heaven's Link Peak." The more mysterious the two acted, the more curious Long Ao was. He did not know what kind of treasure would appear on the Heaven's Link Peak. The two of them wouldn't be interested in ordinary treasures. A treasure that could attract the attention of a Primal Chaos Samsara martial artist. It was obvious what it was. What exactly is it? Intuition told Long Ao that the treasure that would appear on the Heaven's Link Peak was definitely not simple. It might even be on the same level as his Primal Chaos Palace. He, who was originally not interested, wanted to take a look at it at this moment. If it was really suitable for him, then it would be worth it to snatch it. Han Wu continued, "Long Ao, I don't know if you have heard of a Primal Chaos Divine tool in the Primal Chaos realm." As if he thought of something, Long Ao exclaimed, "Could it be the legendary Primal Chaos Refining Tower?" The Primal Chaos Refining Tower was a legendary peerless divine tool that only existed in legends because no one had seen this Primal Chaos Divine tool before. However, according to the legends, the Primal Chaos Refining Tower was a heaven-defying treasure that could refine everything. Brother Long, your guess is right. The treasure that will appear on the Heaven's Link Peak this time is the legendary Primal Chaos Refining Tower. Although he had guessed it, Long Ao was still very shocked because he never thought that the legendary Primal Chaos Refining Tower would actually descend. No wonder it could attract Primal Chaos Samsara martial artists to snatch it. The two of them smiled. In the face of such a heaven-defying treasure, they wouldn't believe that Long Ao wouldn't be tempted even if they were beaten to death. However, the two of them were also very clear in their hearts. Treasures could only be obtained by those who were fated. No matter how strong you were, if you weren't fated, you wouldn't be able to obtain it. Especially when facing such a heaven-defying treasure. It was precisely because of this. The two of them weren't in much of a hurry. In their opinion, if they were fated, then the treasure would belong to them. If they weren't, then no matter how much they tried to force it, it would be futile. It wasn't just the two of them. Even Long Ao felt the same way. Whether or not he could obtain the treasure was secondary. His main goal this time was to deal with Mo Wu Tian and the Judas. If he was alone, he wouldn't stand a chance. However, with the help of the two of them, it would be a different story. Long Ao had full confidence that as long as Han Wu and Sangya joined forces to hold Mo Wu Tian back, he would have full confidence that he could subdue the Candle Shadow. Once the Candle Shadow Divine Beast was subdued, Mo Wu Tian would not be a match for the two of them without the help of the Candle Shadow Divine Beast. That was why Long Ao had requested for the two of them to help. Only Han Wu and Sangya could suppress Mo Wu Tian. But even now, he couldn't lock onto Mo Wu Tian's aura. Where had he and the Judas gone? Had the man and beast not come? As if he could guess Long Ao's thoughts, Sangya said, Brother Long, Imo Wutian and the Judas have already arrived at Skysplit Peak. They just haven't shown themselves yet. If my guess is right, the man and beast must be hiding somewhere. We may not be particularly interested in the treasure, but Imo Wutian is determined to get the refining tower of primal chaos. So that's how it was. There was no point in continuing to lock onto them. After all, he didn't know where they were hiding. However, if Imo Wutian was determined to get the refining tower of primal chaos, then he would make a move. When the time came, all he had to do was wait. Just like that, everyone was waiting for the opening of the Heaven's Link Peak, because everyone knew that as long as the Heaven's Link Peak opened, they would be able to enter the Heaven's Link Peak to seize the treasures. As the saying goes, treasures are obtained by those who are fated to obtain them. Chapter 3250. Inside the Chaotic Dantian. Long Ao told them about the Heaven Connecting Peak. After hearing this, everyone exclaimed in amazement. The Primal Chaos Refining Tower was a legendary chaotic divine weapon. Brother Long, you want to fight for the Primal Chaos Refining Tower? Nodding. Long Ao did not hide anything from Qin Shuangshuang. I don't need to say more about the significance of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower. I believe you know better than me. With one more treasure, we have a higher chance of winning. Imo Wutian was nothing. Nangongyin and the Oracle were nothing. Long Ao did not put these people in his eyes at all from beginning to end. Perhaps, with his current strength, he could not kill a chaotic reincarnation state martial artist. However, once his cultivation base was restored to that of a chaotic reincarnation state martial artist, Long Ao was confident that no one below the Tao-confirming realm would be his match. What he was wary of was the so-called mysterious power. At the critical moment of his Tao-confirming realm, he was destroyed by a mysterious power. If not for his good luck, he believed that he would have died. All his preparations were to deal with this mysterious power. Although Long Ao did not know how powerful the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda was, he knew that the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda was definitely not as simple as he had imagined. He was determined to get the Primal Chaos Refining Tower. Qin Shuangshuang knew Long Ao's character. Once he had decided on something, he would not change his mind. However, a chaotic divine weapon was too important for him. Brother Long, I will help you. All right. Long Ao did not stand on ceremony. No matter what, Qin Shuangshuang was a chaotic reincarnation state martial artist. Especially after cultivating her own cultivation technique, her strength had risen rapidly. If it was a one-on-one fight, Shuangshuang's strength could go against Imo Wutian and the others. They came to the side of the chaos tree. Looking at the three primordial spirits in front of him, Long Ao was helpless. His heart was filled with guilt and self-blame. Brother Long, don't blame yourself. Didn't you say that you could let us be reborn? Qin'er, of course, knew what Long Ao was thinking. Her heart ached for Long Ao. However, Yunshi smiled and said, Brother Long, not only have our souls recovered to the peak, we've even reached the chaotic realm. I believe that on the day we're reborn, our strength will reach an even higher level. How could Long Ao not know what Yunshi and the others had said? He had to admit it. The chaos tree was indeed very powerful. When Yunshi and company's essence spirits cultivated beside the chaos tree, their cultivation speed increased by more than 100 times. According to this situation, just as Yunshi said, when they were reborn, he believed that they would be able to reach a very high level. Long Ao smiled and nodded. Sister Yun, Shaoqian, Ruai, listen to me first. The three of them stopped talking and looked at the young man in front of them. They didn't know what Long Ao wanted to say. If I help you to be reborn, no matter what, there will be a backlash. Even, Long Ao didn't want to talk about the backlash. It was better to be safe than sorry. If the three of them were to suffer a backlash, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Even the slightest accident wasn't something Long Ao wanted to see. I've thought about it countless times. The safest way is to let your cultivation break through to the chaotic reincarnation realm. In that case, you can be reborn. With the help of the chaos tree and in my chaotic dantian, I believe that your chances of success are very high. Yunshi and company were shocked. Their faces were filled with disbelief. The three of them were no longer the same as before. Of course, they knew what the chaotic reincarnation realm represented. With just the three of them, even with the help of the chaos tree, it was impossible to break through to the chaotic reincarnation realm, an existence at the peak of the martial Tao. How could Longao not know what the three of them were thinking? He smiled and said, "Don't worry, you're only primordial spirits. With the help of the chaos tree, I'll teach you a cultivation technique that can devour primordial spirits without any qualms. According to my calculations, it will take about 5,000 years for your cultivation to break through to the chaotic reincarnation realm successfully." Longao was extremely confident about that. The three of them were completely stunned when they heard Longao's words. They didn't doubt it at all. After chatting with the three of them briefly, Longao left and didn't disturb their cultivation. Cultivating beside the chaos tree wasn't just beneficial for the three of them, but also for the various heavenly fires. "Brother Long, are you really that confident?" Nodding, Longao said, "Although I created the 9 revolutions chaos mantra back then, the cultivation technique wasn't perfect at all. After this reincarnation, especially after awakening my primordial spirit, apart from constantly cultivating the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, I've also been constantly perfecting this cultivation technique. In the process of constantly perfecting it, I've been pleasantly surprised to find that I can create the most suitable cultivation technique for each person based on their specific situation." Qin Shuangshuang obviously knew what Brother Long meant. If Brother Long hadn't said it himself, she wouldn't have believed it even if she was beaten to death. It was simply unbelievable. "Brother Long, could it be that the cultivation technique you create is completely suitable for that person?" Before Qin Shuangshuang could finish speaking, Longao nodded heavily and said, "That's right. I can almost guarantee that the cultivation technique I create, as long as it's absolutely suitable for the person and the person's talent isn't bad, then they can break through the chaotic realm. As for how far they can go, it depends on the person's luck. As for Sister Yun and the other two, with my help, I'm confident that they can all break through the chaotic reincarnation realm within 3,000 years. Previously, Longao deliberately said 5,000 years because he didn't want to disappoint the three of them too much. Longao was almost 99% confident. Qin Shuangshuang was shocked to the extreme. She stared blankly at her lover and said, "Brother Long, I don't know how to describe it. In the entire chaotic realm, there's no one else who can compare to you." Qin Shuangshuang had already started cultivating. Of course, she knew what Brother Long meant. In this case, as long as Brother Long was willing, anyone could reach the chaotic realm. Even the talented cultivators could break through the chaotic reincarnation realm. If this matter were to spread out, it would shake the entire chaotic realm. It was too shocking. Not to mention Qin Shuangshuang, even Longao himself never thought that he could create the most suitable cultivation technique for each person based on their specific situation by constantly perfecting the 9 revolutions chaos mantra. Because of this, he couldn't wait. When his cultivation recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, he would immediately find a way to return to the dragon soaring starry sky. Chapter 32:51. If he could create a method for his grandfather and the others, then according to their specific conditions, he would be able to create the most suitable method for them. He knew what that meant. Thinking of his family, Longao's heart grew lonely. Not now. Even if he could return to the chaos realm, whether he could reopen the passage to Ascending Dragon's galaxy was still an unknown. He felt helpless. But more than that, he missed them. She seemed to be able to guess Longao's thoughts. Qin Shuangshuang clasped Longao's hand tightly. "We can go back. We can." He took a deep breath. Not just for the three of them, but for the 5 elements patriarch. Longao created the chaos elemental formula according to the patriarch's specific conditions. What kind of concept was this? But one had to know. The 5 elements patriarch was now in the chaos realm of life and death, only one step away from the chaos realm of reincarnation. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible for the 5 elements patriarch to break through to the chaos realm of reincarnation. But now, things were different. At the time, the 5 elements patriarch was so excited he almost fainted. He could clearly feel what the chaos elemental formula would bring him. If nothing unexpected happened, If he continued to practice the chaos elemental formula, he would be able to break through to the chaos realm of reincarnation. How could he not be excited? How could he not be? 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. According to the discussions of many people, the news that Longao received was that the heavenly reaching summit would begin within 3 months. If that was the case, 2 months had already passed, and there was only 1 month left, then the Heavens Link Peak would definitely open in 1 month. Even now, Imo Wutian and Judas had yet to show themselves. No one knew where they were hiding. Longao was anxious. It wasn't easy to join forces with Han Wu and Sangya. If he missed this opportunity, who knew how long he would have to wait? Once Imo Wutian joined forces with Nangong Yin and the Oracle, then even with Han Wu and Sangya on his side, it would be impossible to defeat Judas and kill Imo Wutian. He had to end this quickly. Thinking about it was easy, but actually doing it was difficult. Brother Long, don't worry. Yes, we can be sure Wutian and Judas are nearby. He nodded. How could Long Ao not know the meaning of the two people's words? He didn't know if Imo Wu Tian had discovered his tracks. If he hadn't, then everything would be fine. If he had, then he knew what that meant. If Imo Wu Tian chose to hide and not appear, even he would not be able to do anything about it. He felt helpless. Brother Long, Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician want to deal with you? He was not surprised at all. Long Ao nodded and roughly explained everything that had happened. After listening, Han Wu and Sangya both nodded. Sangya then said, Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician wanted to obtain your 9 revolution chaos mantra because they wanted to prove their Tao. Brother Long, may I ask you something? You were the one with the most hope of proving your Tao back then. Why did you fail at the crucial moment? He could not figure it out. It wasn't just the two who couldn't figure it out, everyone else couldn't. After all, with Long Ao's talent and potential, he was the one with the greatest chance of proving his Tao. If even Long Ao couldn't prove his Tao, then they had even less of a chance. Because of this, the two of them really wanted to know what had caused Long Ao to fail in his Tao validation at the final moment. Long Ao didn't hide anything. He told them everything that had happened back then in detail. He also wanted to hear what the two thought of this matter. After listening, the two of them had grave expressions. Of course, they knew how serious the matter that happened to Long Ao back then was. Brother Long, what do you think of this? I don't know. I can't figure it out. It can't be a Tao-confirming cultivator, because even a Tao-confirming cultivator can't do this. There's only one possibility. You mean to say it's the Tao of chaos itself? Long Ao nodded. He really thought so. Besides the legendary Tao of chaos, he really couldn't think of any other power that could stop him at the most critical moment. Long Ao really couldn't think of any other power besides the Tao of chaos that could do it. The two shook their heads and said almost at the same time, impossible. Han Wu then continued, Brother Long, I know what you mean, but you should know that the Tao of chaos is an illusory thing. Whether such a power exists in the chaos realm is still unknown. What's more, before this, there have been seniors who succeeded in proving their Tao. Even if the Tao of chaos really exists, why would it stop you? This was something that the two couldn't figure out. However, at this moment, Sangya seemed to have thought of something and said, if it's really the Tao of chaos, then I'm afraid there's only one reason. What reason? Long Ao couldn't wait to ask. He really wanted to know what was going on. After all, if it wasn't for the sudden arrival of the mysterious power, not only would he not have reincarnated, he would have even succeeded in proving his Tao. Brother Long, forgive me for being blunt. Looking at the entire chaos realm, there's no one other than you who can create a heaven-defying cultivation technique like the 9 revolution chaos formula. Not only that, the 9 revolution chaos formula that you created. As long as you break through the 8th revolution, you will be able to prove your Tao. We can all imagine that once you succeed in proving your Tao, there's a possibility of breaking through the 9th revolution. No one knows what the 9th revolution means. Will it directly threaten the Tao of chaos? Long Ao roughly understood what Sangya meant. In the end, the Tao of chaos was afraid. It could allow others to prove their Tao, but it didn't allow him to do so. However, thinking about it, it was true. Back then, under some kind of opportunity, he actually created the 9 revolution chaos formula. not to mention others. Even he could feel how heaven-defying the cultivation technique he created was. Just like what Sangya said, as long as he broke through the 8th revolution, he would be able to prove his Tao. It was hard to imagine what would happen if he broke through the 9th revolution. As for whether the great way of chaos existed, Longao did not dare to say. Even until now, he was still a little fearful of the mysterious power that had suddenly appeared back then. Back then, if he had not been lucky, he believed that he would have died long ago. How could he have reincarnated and successfully awakened his primordial spirit? Whether the Tao of chaos really existed or not, he wouldn't let himself repeat the same mistake. Chapter 3252. Neither of them asked any further. This was simply too strange. Whether or not the Tao of chaos truly existed, no one knew for sure. As for why this mysterious power wanted to stop Longao from attaining his Tao, no one knew for sure. They were helpless. It wasn't just the two of them. Even Longao didn't want to talk about this anymore. 10 days later, boom, 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 boom. Everyone's eyes were glued to the Heaven's Link Peak. Everyone knew that the Heaven's Link Peak they had been waiting for was about to open. Everyone was very excited and excited. No matter who it was, everyone wanted the treasures within the Heaven's Link Peak. Crack, 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 crack. The barrier around the Heaven's Link Peak crumbled instantly. Hurry! The treasure is mine. Everyone rushed towards the Heaven's Link Peak in a frenzy. But there were simply too many people. Looking over, they were like endless droplets of water flowing into the ocean. Imo Wutian. Even though he wanted to fight for the Chaos Flame Refining Tower, Longao still wanted to deal with Imo Wutian and take down Judas. Therefore, he was in no hurry to enter the Heaven's Link Peak. Instead, he stared at his surroundings. And just as he expected, the moment the Heaven's Link Peak opened, Imo Wutian and Judas appeared. Just as Longao was about to strike, he realized that Nangong Yin and Master Clairvoyant, who had been missing for a long time, had suddenly appeared. Indeed, whatever he feared would happen. If it were just Imo Wutian and Judas alone, it wouldn't be hard for him to join forces with Sangya and Han Wu to take them down. But now? But this chance would not come again. Brother Long, are we still going to strike? I have an idea. Imo Wutian and the other two saw Longao, and the other two as well. Both sides stood in the void above the 9 heavens. Looking at each other, they could feel the boundless killing intent emanating from each other. Longao, long time no see. How have you been? Qin Shuang's figure appeared beside Longao. At this time, there were also 3 chaos reincarnation martial artists on Longao's side. He snorted coldly. Longao, do you think that by joining hands with Han Wu and Sangya, you can contend against the 4 of us? On Imo Wu Tian's side, there were 4 primal chaos samsara martialists. As such, there was no doubt that Imo Wu Tian's side held the upper hand. However, would Longao be afraid? Imo Wu Tian, you should know the current situation better than I do. We can't do anything to you. Similarly, you can't do anything to us. Wutian Imo was infuriated. If Judas had been any other chaos warrior, it would have been a different story altogether. Not only did Longao have the chaotic divine beast picture, but he also had the 9 chaotic divine beasts. Moreover, 3,000 years had passed and no one knew if Longao's power had increased. In a forceful battle, neither side could gain any advantage. Was he going to give up just like that? He wasn't willing. Not to mention Imo Wu Tian, even the other 2, Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician, were unwilling to give up. After all, Longao's talent and strength were there for all to see. Once Longao successfully returned to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, no one would be his opponent. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. But in this situation, it wasn't the right time to force a fight. With this thought in mind, the 3 men and 1 beast didn't waste any more words. They turned and left, disappearing from Sky-Split Peak in the blink of an eye. Let's go. Longao didn't make a move either. If something happened to Shuang or the other 2, he really didn't know what to do. Aside from them, There were dozens of Chaos Warriors who had come to Skysplit Peak. They were all peerless powerhouses who usually hid themselves in various corners of the primal Chaos realm. These people didn't care about worldly affairs. Their hearts were set on proving their Tao. Skysplit Peak was boundless. Qin Shuangshuang entered the chaotic Dantian. Although Qin Shuangshuang was not afraid of any chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists, Longao would definitely not let Qin Shuangshuang take the risk just in case. Qin Shuangshuang was the safest in the chaotic Dantian. After Longao and the other two entered Skysplit Peak, they moved cautiously. Even with their strength, they didn't dare to let their guard down. Who knew if Mo Wuyin and the others would launch a sneak attack? It was better to be safe than sorry. Brother Long, just in case, no matter what happens, it's best that we stick together. Otherwise, if we're left alone, we'll be in big trouble. All right. Longao naturally knew what Sangya meant. Not only them, but even Mo Wuyin's side had the same idea. Regardless of whether it was his side or Mo Wuyin's side, once someone was left alone, they would suffer a devastating blow. Under such circumstances, no one was willing to move alone. Brother Han, Brother Tsang, have you noticed? The aura in Skysplit Peak is very strange. Sangya and Han Wu nodded at the same time. Sangya's face was extremely solemn as he said, "We have to be extra careful. The news of the Chaos Divine Tool Refining Flame Tower in Skysplit Peak is not 100% confirmed. Whether it really exists is still unknown. It shouldn't be fake. Could it be a trap set up by someone? I don't think it's possible. After all, there are dozens of primal chaos reincarnation cultivators. Who in the entire primal chaos world would dare to set up a trap to deal with them?" Longao nodded in agreement. Even Chaos Realm warriors of the same level wouldn't do such a thing as long as they weren't stupid. It was complete nonsense. It was just that Longao's senses were very clear. Along with the passage of time after entering the heaven-piercing peak, Longao discovered more and more that something was wrong. The aura inside the heaven-piercing peak was very strange, and it seemed to be able to corrode a martial artist's primordial spirit. You guys feel it too? Amen. Although the strength of the corrosion is nothing to us, if this is to continue, even we will suffer a certain amount of damage. Longao and the other two were very shocked because they never thought that the strange aura in the heaven-connecting peak could not only erode the primordial spirit, it could even erode the primordial spirit of a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist. They were very clear about what the primal chaos reincarnation realm meant. As for Longao, although he wasn't a chaos realm warrior, his Yuan spirit was infinitely close to chaos realm. It was because of this that the three of them found it unbelievable. The more it was so, the more careful the three of them were. The warriors who entered Skysplit Peak were corroded by the aura one by one. Before they could even react, they had already died. Chapter 32:53. There were corpses everywhere. Longao naturally knew how in the world these martial artists perished. The mysterious aura in the heaven-connecting peak could erode a warrior's primordial spirit. Ordinary warriors could not withstand it at all. Soon, most of the warriors began to retreat from the heaven-connecting peak. Although the treasures were good, compared to their lives, it was still not enough. Many people persevered in the end. After all, the mysterious aura's ability to erode the primordial spirit was very small. As long as they could withstand it with all their strength, staying in the heaven-connecting peak for a few months was more than enough. Not to mention the Chaos Reincarnation Realm warriors. "Boss, I have something to talk to you about." At this moment, Longao suddenly heard the heavenly demonic flame's voice and was very curious. He did not know why the heavenly demonic flame was looking for him at this time. Under normal circumstances, after the heavenly demonic flame and all the other flames devoured the fire worms, they began to recover their strength. What was it? "You two, I have something to do in the Chaos Palace. It will take about an hour." "Go ahead." The two of them obviously knew about the Chaos Palace in Longao's hands. As a heaven-defying chaos divine weapon, the power of the Chaos Palace was needless to say. Back then, Longao also had the chance to grow after obtaining the Chaos Palace. Otherwise, before Longao could break through to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm, he would have died long ago. The two of them did not ask too much because they knew what to ask and what not to ask. Returning to the Chaos Palace, Longao asked impatiently, "Heavenly demonic flame, what's the matter?" Longao knew that if there was nothing particularly important, the heavenly demonic flame would not casually summon him. Furthermore, the heavenly demonic flame had reached a critical point. "Boss, I just heard from Sister Shuang that the heaven-connecting peak you entered has the legendary primordial chaos flame refining tower." Long Ao would not hide anything from the heavenly demonic flame. He nodded. "That's right. According to them, the legendary primordial chaos flame refining tower is very likely in the heaven-connecting peak. Could it be that the heavenly demonic flame was looking for him because of the primordial chaos flame refining tower? It was just that Long Ao could not figure out the reason for the heavenly quiet devil flames. "Boss, now that you have the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, what do you think of this Chaos Divine weapon?" Although he didn't know what the heavenly ghost devil flame meant, Long Ao still said, "I don't need to explain the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram." "What do you mean?" Not to mention Long Ao. Even the others were curious about what the heavenly ghost devil flame was trying to do. "Boss, I can tell you this." He took a deep breath. The Primal Chaos Refining Tower is almost exactly the same as the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts. With a simple sentence, Long Ao already knew what the heavenly quiet devil flame meant. He was very shocked. "Heavenly quiet, are you telling me that if I can get the Primal Chaos Refining Tower, once I gather the 23 types of exotic flames, I can unleash a destructive power?" The heavenly quiet devil flame nodded and said with a smile, "Boss, you are really lucky. Our situation is almost exactly the same as the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. As long as we can get the Primal Chaos Refining Tower and gather the 23 types of exotic flames, we can also prove our Tao." Completely shocked, Long Ao also did not expect that the legendary Primal Chaos Refining Tower was the same as the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts. How could he not be excited? "I know what to do. Boss, I can say that without my help, no one can lock the location of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower." Nodding, Long Ao of course knew what the other party meant. With the help of the heavenly quiet devil flame, there was almost no need to worry. He could definitely get the Primal Chaos Refining Tower. It would be a lie to say that he was not excited. If he could get the Primal Chaos Refining Tower, a Primal Chaos Refining Tower, and a diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts. As long as he could gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and 23 types of exotic flames, once all of them were gathered, whether it was the exotic flames or the divine beasts, they could prove their Tao. Just thinking about it made him excited. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Long Ao asked, "What should I do now?" "Boss, the first thing you need to do now is to get rid of those two. Then I will take you to find the Primal Chaos Refining Tower." He did as he said. Although he was in a temporary alliance with these two people, but in this world, there were no eternal enemies, and there were no eternal friends, only eternal interests. Long Ao was almost certain that if he obtained the Primal Chaos Refining Flame Tower, it would be impossible for the other two people not to snatch it. Rather than that, it would be better to get rid of the two first, then find the Primal Chaos Refining Tower by himself. It would save him the trouble of falling out with the two. Not to mention the exotic flames and the divine beasts successfully proving their Tao. Even if they were fully restored to the chaos level, they could easily destroy Wutianemo and the others. But things were different now. Before Wutianemo and the chaos beast returned to their primordial chaos state, he couldn't kill them on his own. Only by joining forces with Han Wu and Sangya would they be able to defeat Wutian and Judas. Therefore, this was not the time to shed all pretenses of cordiality with them. "Brother Long, is there something you need?" Shaking his head, Long Ao smiled. "We need to find the Primal Chaos Refining Tower as soon as possible. Otherwise, Wutianemo and the others will beat us to it." In Long Ao's mind, he was constantly thinking of various methods to see how he could get rid of the two of them without anyone noticing. However, under such circumstances, it was really not an easy thing to get rid of the two of them easily. Perhaps it was because the Heaven's Link peak was too big, but ever since they stepped foot on it, neither side could lock onto the other. And more importantly, Longao realized that no matter who it was, even if they were chaos-level martial artists, they could not release their auras to cover the entire Heaven's Link peak. Therefore, other than relying on luck, there was no other way to lock onto Wu Yinamo and the other's auras. Sizzle. Sizzle. Just then, sizzling sounds came from all over the Heaven's Link peak. Before anyone could react, the entire Heaven's Link peak began to change. It was a gigantic flaming mountain, with flames burning everywhere. It was horrifying. Even if it were a chaos-level martial artist, if they were not careful, they would definitely die without a chance to escape. What sort of flame is this? It's so scary. Even the exotic flames can't fight against it. Primal Chaos Refining Tower. Song Ya's face was grim. He did not know what to think. After all, the power of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower was far beyond their knowledge. Chapter 3254. Apart from this, there was no other possibility. It was shocking. The Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda was truly terrifying. The power of this flame could even incinerate a Chaos Life and Death Realm warrior. As for Chaos Reincarnation Realm warriors, they were not afraid of this flame. Longao, who originally wanted to get rid of the two of them. However, he helplessly discovered that, for some unknown reason, the two of them had been clinging onto him, never leaving his side. Thinking about it, Longao could not figure out the reason and did not know what Longao meant. Brother Long, can you sense the location of the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda? He shook his head. No. There were no eternal enemies in this world, and similarly, there were no eternal friends. There were only eternal benefits. Longao was very clear in his heart. If he encountered the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda, whether it was Han Wu or Tsangya, they would definitely fall out with him. The more it was so, the more he had to get rid of the two of them. The two of you. The chances of the three of us locking onto Primal Chaos is too low. Why don't we lock onto it separately? The chances would be higher. Hearing Longao's words, Han Wu and Tsangya's faces changed. The two of them looked at each other. Longao had already said so, and the two of them were very clear in their hearts. Even if they were extremely unwilling, they could only reluctantly nod their heads. Longao did not want to stay any longer. Without waiting for the two of them to say anything, he immediately turned and left. In a short while, he had already disappeared without a trace. What do you think? Longao would not separate from us for no reason. He is very wary of Mo Wu Tian and the rest. If he leaves alone, Mo Wu Tian and the rest will definitely join forces to deal with him. What do you mean? That's right. According to my guess, Longao must have already locked onto the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda's location. The two of their faces instantly turned gloomy. They had already temporarily joined forces, but they never thought that Longao would play tricks with them at this time. How could they not be angry? We have already agreed that once we get the Primal Chaos Refining Pagoda, the three of us will rely on our luck. But now he wants to take it all for himself. Then what should we do now? Chase after them. Naturally, the two of them would not choose to give up. After all, the Primal Chaos Refining Tower was a legendary Chaos Divine artifact. It would be a lie to say that they did not want to obtain it. If it was Longao at his peak, the two of them might have been very wary of him. But now, Longao was only at the chaotic life and death realm. Once the two of them joined forces, even Longao wouldn't be able to resist. This was without a doubt. Longao still hadn't locked onto the location of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower, but according to the Heavenly Devil Flame, it shouldn't be difficult for him to sense the location of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower. Brother Long, someone is following you. He nodded. Longao still didn't let Qin Shuangshuang come out. How could he not know that the two of them had been following him? However, at this time, there seemed to be no other good way except to completely shake them off. It was not an easy task to shake off the two Chaos Samsara martial artists. What should he do? The two of you, what is the meaning of this? Unable to completely shake off the two of them, Longao could only choose to have a showdown with the two of them. He wanted to know what the two of them were thinking and why they were following him. Brother Long, have you already locked onto the location of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower? The two of them didn't speak much nonsense. Unless it was a last resort, they were still unwilling to completely fall out with Longao. After all, they knew what it meant. Longao's talent and strength were there for all to see. The two of you, I, Longao, can swear a primordial spirit oath. If I really lock onto the primal chaos refining tower and don't tell the two of you, I will die a horrible death. Longao immediately swore a primordial spirit oath. A primordial spirit oath was a very restrictive oath even for Chaos Samsara martial artists. The two of them never thought that Longao would really swear a primordial spirit oath. The two of them were a little confused. If the two of them still didn't choose to believe him, then it would be really unkind. Brother Long, sorry, we thought too much. As soon as they finished speaking, the two of them immediately turned and left. This time, the two of them didn't continue to follow Longao. Although the two of them didn't know what Longao was planning, Longao had said before that the three of them would search for the primal chaos refining tower together. It was better to search alone. This way, the chances of finding it would be much higher. Longao took a deep breath. Longao heaved a sigh of relief as he watched the two of them leave. Even though he wasn't afraid of the two of them, it wasn't a wise decision to fall out with them at this point in time. Mo Wu Tian and the others were already troublesome enough. If the two of them were to join the fray, the consequences would be unimaginable. Tianyu, what should we do now? Longao was very clear in his heart. It was really difficult to lock onto the location of the primal chaos refining tower with his own strength. However, it shouldn't be difficult for the Tianyu Devil Flame. The Tianyu Devil Flame's figure appeared. Sensing the situation of the heaven-connecting peak, he said with a surprised expression, "Brother Long, your luck is really too good. What's going on?" Longao's heart skipped a beat. Since the Tianyu Devil Flame said so, it was obvious what it meant. Boss, according to what I just sensed, if I'm not wrong, not only does the primal chaos refining tower exist in the heaven-connecting peak, but all the remaining strange flames are also here. Hearing the words of the heavenly demonic flame, Longao was completely shocked. His face was filled with disbelief. Of course, he knew what the heavenly demonic flame meant. If he could obtain the remaining heavenly flames, then he would be able to gather 23 types of heavenly flames. If he could obtain the primal chaos refining flame pagoda, then with the combination of the two, once all 23 types of heavenly flames were successfully verified, he would know what it meant. Longao also didn't expect his luck to be so good. If he didn't come to the first sky, he wouldn't have come to the heaven-connecting peak, and wouldn't have encountered the primal chaos refining tower and the remaining strange flames. How could he not be excited? How could he not be excited? Can you lock onto the primal chaos refining tower and the strange flames? The Tianyu Devil Flame nodded and said, "Boss, it's really difficult for us to subdue the remaining strange flames first. Why don't we find a way to obtain the primal chaos refining tower first? This way, we can easily obtain the remaining strange flames." Nodding, Longao naturally didn't have the slightest objection. He immediately led the Tianyu Devil Flame to the left. The most important thing now was to lock onto the location of the primal chaos refining tower. Chapter 3255. Locking onto the primal chaos flame refining tower with all his might was not as simple as he had imagined. "Tianyu, are you in trouble?" The heavenly demonic flame's expression was very solemn as he nodded and said, "Although I can sense the exact location of the primal chaos flame refining tower, there are some disturbances. I'm afraid." "Speak." Longao knew the heavenly demonic flame very well. There must be something fishy about it. What exactly happened? "Boss, there are very powerful taboos around the primal chaos flame refining tower. According to my guess, the person who set up the taboos should be a Tao Vindication warrior." Hearing this, Longao was shocked. Longao knew very well what it meant to be a Tao Vindication warrior. Since it was a taboos set up by a Tao Vindication warrior, Longao couldn't figure out why the Tao Vindication warrior didn't directly take away the primal chaos flame refining tower. He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. "Let's go." The heavenly demonic flame was very clear about his boss's character. Once he decided on something, he would definitely not change it casually. Under the Tongtian peak, there was a huge cave. In the center was a small black tower, surrounded by powerful taboos. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through the chaotic life and death realm. He felt the taboos in front of him. As expected, the person who set up the taboos was a Tao Vindication warrior. In the Chaos realm, although no one had been able to successfully prove their Tao for many years, it didn't mean that no one had succeeded. There was no doubt about it. Not to mention Longao, everyone could almost be sure that there were Tao Vindication warriors in the Chaos realm. It was just that no one had ever seen a real Tao Vindication warrior. Boss, this Tao Vindication warrior who set up the taboos should have really fallen. Nodding, Longao of course knew what the heavenly demonic flame meant. He had already guessed that the Tao Vindication warrior who set up the taboos should have fallen. But in this case, it was really too difficult to break the taboos in front of him. Not to mention the current him, even if he recovered to his peak, he might not be able to break the taboos. He was helpless. It was just that the primal chaos flame refining tower could not be obtained. Boss, I have a way to help you obtain the primordial flame refining tower. But, looking at the heavenly demonic flame that seemed to want to say something, Longao was very curious. He didn't know what the heavenly demonic flame meant. His heart skipped a beat. If the heavenly ghost devil flame could really help him obtain the primal chaos refining tower, then it would be a very beneficial thing for him. Longao was very clear about what the primal chaos refining tower meant. If he could obtain the primal chaos refining tower, he would be able to gather 23 types of heavenly flames. It would be unrealistic to say that he wasn't excited. Tianyu, what should we do? Without waiting for the heaven you devil flame to speak, Longao continued, no matter what price I have to pay, I must obtain the primal chaos flame refining tower. The heaven you devil flame of course knew what his boss meant. He said helplessly and worriedly, Boss, forgive me for being blunt. Although this Tao confirming cultivator has fallen, his primordial spirit is still in the primal chaos refining tower. Even if you can obtain it, once you start refining it, I can almost guarantee that you will definitely be devoured by this primordial spirit, or even. Speaking up to here, the heaven you devil flame did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao of course knew what the heaven you devil flame meant, but even so, he still shook his head and said, even so, I must obtain the primal chaos refining tower. As for the future, we will talk about it later. All right. The heaven you devil flame immediately started refining. He had to admit that the heaven you devil flame was indeed very powerful. Even Longao did not see how the heaven you devil flame did it. Half an hour later, looking at the small black tower in his hand, Longao was very excited, and his face was full of excitement. No matter what, the primal chaos refining tower and the primal chaos beast diagram were both heaven-defying chaos divine tools. Especially now that he had gathered most of the strange fires, and according to the heaven you devil flame, the remaining strange fires were all in the heaven connecting peak. If that was the case, once he gathered all 23 strange fires, he knew what it meant. Boss, you must remember my words. Before you have full confidence, you must not rashly refine the primal chaos refining tower. Once you are devoured by the power left behind by the Tao confirming cultivator, no one can save you unless it is the Tao confirming cultivator. How could Longao not know about the heaven you devil flames worries? Nodding, Longao said with a smile, I definitely have a way to refine the primal chaos refining tower, but I have to be extra careful. Heaven you, according to what you said, I can't refine the primal chaos refining tower. Is it because I want to subdue the remaining strange fires? Before Longao finished speaking, the heaven you devil flame immediately said, Boss, I won't hide it from you. I didn't know before, but I just sensed that the remaining strange fires are all sealed in the primal chaos refining tower. Hearing the heaven you devil flame's words, Longao was completely dumbfounded. He had never thought that the remaining strange fires would be sealed in the primal chaos refining tower. If that was the case, if he wanted to subdue the primal chaos refining tower, he would have to refine the primal chaos refining tower. But the current situation did not allow him to do so. If he tried to refine it, there would only be one result, and that was to be devoured by the remnant soul left behind by the Tao-confirming cultivator. Even if he was at his peak, he would not be able to resist the corrosion of the remnant soul of the Tao-confirming cultivator. It was complete nonsense. It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. But no matter what, he had already obtained the primal chaos refining tower. As long as he continued to think of a way, he was confident that he could succeed. Let's go. The Heaven You Devil Flame entered his primal chaos Dantian, and Longao took a step forward, disappearing from the cave. There were still many cultivators left in the Heaven's Link Peak, including dozens of primal chaos reincarnation cultivators. But the primal chaos refining tower had been obtained by Longao, so the others had no chance. However, Longao didn't leave just yet. Although he had obtained the primal chaos refining pagoda, he still needed to deal with Mo Wu Tian. He didn't believe that Mo Wu Tian and the other two would stay together forever. Once Mo Wu Tian and Zhuyin were alone, that would be his best chance. But the most important thing right now was to lock onto Tsangya and Han Wu. Only then would they be able to deal with Mo Wu Tian and Judas. The Heaven's Link Peak was very large, and without being able to release his Yuan spirit, it would be difficult to lock onto two people. The flames have disappeared. The corrosive aura has also disappeared. What's going on? Chapter 3256. Everyone could feel the strangeness of the situation. All of a sudden, the flame aura and corrosive aura had disappeared without a trace. No one knew what had happened. Even so, no one chose to give up and continued to search. Longao had been locking onto Han Wu and Tsangya's tracks, but the two seemed to have evaporated into thin air and could not be locked onto. In that case, even if he could lock onto Mo Wu Tian, it would be impossible for him to subdue the candle shadow and kill him. His face was solemn. Brother Long, since we already have the primal chaos refining tower, why don't we leave first? How could Longao not know what Qin Shuangshuang meant? He was unwilling. Shuangshuang, as long as we can subdue Mo Wu Tian, we will not have to worry about him. Qin Shuangshuang's face was filled with worry. Brother Long, I don't know why, but I feel that something is wrong with you coming to Heaven's connecting peak. What's wrong? His heart skipped a beat. Longao was very curious and did not know what was going on with Qin Shuangshuang. No matter what, sometimes a person's intuition was very accurate. Brother Long, this feeling is very strange. I can't explain it, but I can clearly feel that Heaven's connecting peak is very strange. Okay, let's leave. Longao chose to believe Qin Shuangshuang and left without hesitation. Less than 2 hours after Longao left, Mo Wu Tian and the rest of the Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivators all chose to leave. Because every Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm cultivator could sense that something was wrong, no one dared to continue waiting. It was better to leave first and see what was going on. About a day after all the Samsara experts left Heaven's connecting peak, the entire Heaven's connecting peak suddenly collapsed. Those who did not leave, no matter who, even Samsara experts, did not come out. As for what happened to them, one could only imagine. When Longao received the news, he was also shocked. Shuangshuang and the other Samsara experts all had the courage to do so, but why did he not? What was going on? Was it because of the Primal Chaos Refining Tower? Longao could almost say that the reason why he did not sense this danger was related to the Primal Chaos Refining Tower. As for the others, ordinary Chaos Warriors would not be able to sense it at all. Only Primal Chaos Reincarnation Warriors could sense it. Now that he thought about it, he felt scared. If it weren't for Shuangshuang's timely detection, he would have been crushed by the heaven-connecting peak, his life and death unknown. He felt helpless. There was only one reason for the collapse of the Heaven's Link Peak. If there was no accident, it should be because Longao had obtained the Primal Chaos Refining Flame Tower, which caused the collapse of the Tongtian Peak. Longao did not head to the Devil Palace. If it were only Wu Tianmo and Judas, then Tsangya and Han Wu would be more than capable of subduing Judas and killing Wu Tian. However, the situation now was very different. Inside the Devil Palace, there was Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician overseeing it. Even if he joined forces with Tsangya and Han Wu, they still wouldn't be able to do it. There was no doubt about it. Blackstone Domain. Looking at the primal chaos refining flame tower in his hand, Longao would have started refining it long ago if he was not afraid of the backlash of the primal chaos refining flame tower. How could he wait until now? The primal chaos refining flame tower, he had already gathered most of the strange fires. According to the heavenly demonic flame, the remaining strange fires were all left in the primal chaos refining flame tower. As long as he opened the primal chaos refining flame tower, then he could easily obtain the remaining strange fires. However, the price he had to pay was too great. In the face of a primal chaos refining flame tower, even if it was the remnant soul of a primal chaos refining flame tower, he did not have the slightest confidence. Not to mention the current him, even at his peak, he could not withstand the backlash of a primal chaos refining flame tower. So, in this situation, he could only watch and not refine it. Otherwise, the slightest carelessness would cause him to fall into eternal damnation. Heavenly demonic flame tower, have you not thought of a way to deal with the remnant soul of the primal chaos refining flame tower? This was the key. As long as the remnant soul of the primal chaos refining flame tower was not eradicated, then it was impossible to refine the primal chaos refining flame tower. Longao could be said to know nothing about the primal chaos refining flame tower, but it did not mean that the heavenly demonic flame did not know. Boss, I believe you know the situation of the primal chaos refining flame tower better than me. Even if it is only the primordial spirit in the primal chaos refining flame tower, for us, it is an insurmountable gap. To completely destroy the primordial spirit of the primal chaos refining flame tower, it is true. At this point, the heavenly demonic flame did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. How could Longao not know the meaning of the heavenly demonic flame? His face was helpless. It seemed that in a short time, there was really no way to deal with the primordial spirit of the primal chaos refining flame tower. Boss, the matter of the primal chaos refining flame tower is not urgent. Anyway, now that it is in your hands, we have time to slowly study it. I don't believe that we can't refine the primal chaos refining flame tower. The most important thing now is to find a way to subdue the divine beast Yuan. As long as we can gather all the primal chaos divine beasts with the help of the primal chaos divine beast diagram, I believe that the 10 great primal chaos divine beasts can prove their Tao. The difference between a divine beast of the primal chaos reincarnation cycle and a divine beast of the primal chaos cycle was too great. The two were not existences of the same level. Longao had a rough understanding of the heavenly demonic flame's meaning. If he could subdue the divine beast of Yuan, then after the 10 great primal chaos divine beasts had all reached the primal chaos refining flame tower, any of them would be able to easily deal with the remnant soul of the primal chaos refining flame tower. However, this was easy to think about, but difficult to actually do. After all, if he wanted to subdue the divine beast of Yuan, he had to kill Mo Wutian. However, with his current strength, it was not possible to do so. Just as the heavenly demonic flame had said, now was not the time to destroy the primordial spirit of the primal chaos refining flame tower. It was impossible. The only thing he had to do was think of a way to subdue the divine beast of Yuan. He cultivated quietly. Rather than joining forces with Sangya and Han Wu, he might as well think of a way to raise his cultivation. However, he did not know why he was unable to break through from the primal chaos life and death realm to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He originally thought that it was because of the primal chaos saint physique, but now it seemed that things were not as simple as he had imagined. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Longao's face was very gloomy as he sensed his dantian, especially the primal chaos tree. However, the final result was the same. The more it was like this, the more depressed Longao was. If this continued, who knew what would happen? If his cultivation could not return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm after 5,000 years, then he would be completely passive. Chapter 3257. Dragon Peak, Back Mountain, Forbidden Grounds. Longao's right hand swiped gently in front of him. The entire sky seemed to be shrouded and trembled violently. His face was filled with surprise. I've already cultivated the fourth mystique, reincarnation, to the peak of reincarnation transcendence. Why am I still unable to break through the chaos reincarnation realm? Back then, he had barely managed to cultivate reincarnation transcendence when his cultivation base was at the peak of the chaos reincarnation realm. But now, his cultivation base had yet to break through the chaos reincarnation realm, but his fourth mystique, reincarnation transcendence, had already reached the 9th level. What did this mean? He could not figure it out. Even if he was beaten to death, Longao could not figure out what was going on. It did not make sense at all. Brother Long, with your current strength, are you able to fight against a chaos reincarnation realm martial artist? How could Longao not know what shuang shuang meant? He chuckled. Longao did not say much. First sky region, 9 heavens void, 10,000 miles of clouds. Seeing Longao suddenly appear in front of them, whether it was Emo Wu Tian, Nangong Yin, or even the godly mathematician, they all seemed to be very surprised. They didn't know if Longao's brain had been flooded with water. Emo Wu Tian, haven't you always wanted to have a fair fight with me? I'll fulfill your wish today. I hope you won't disappoint me. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that Longao's purpose in coming here was to fight with them. Was Longao qualified? If Longao was at his peak, then there was no doubt that even Death God Duanmujin would not be a match for Longao in a one-on-one fight, let alone Emo Wu Tian. But now, Longao was only at the Chaos Life and Death Realm. It was impossible for him to fight against them. You want to rely on formations? Even now, Emo Wu Tian was still somewhat fearful of the array laid out by Longao. Emo Wu Tian, let's have a fair fight. I won't use formations. If you hide in the Chaos Palace. Before Emo Wu Tian could finish, Longao mocked, if either of us takes a step back, may the heavens strike us down. Just as Longao swore the primordial spirit oath, Emo Wu Tian started to hesitate. But since things had already come to this, he didn't think too much about it, and swore the same primordial spirit oath. Even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that the current Longao could defeat him. This was how things were. Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician didn't say anything and retreated to the side with the candle shade divine beast. Both of them wanted to see what sort of trump card Longao had up his sleeves for him to challenge Emo Wu Tian. But you have to know, the absolute difference in realm made it impossible for Longao to defeat a primal chaos samsara martialist without the help of an array formation. The two of them looked at each other and felt a strong fighting spirit from each other. Neither of them struck out immediately. At the start, Emo Wu Tian hadn't taken Longao seriously at all. But right now, he could sense an extremely horrifying aura emanating from Longao. Chaos Life and Death Pinnacle State. He was just one step away from becoming a primal chaos samsara martialist. But Emo Wu Tian and the others couldn't figure out how Longao hadn't broken through from the Chaos Life and Death state to the Chaos Reincarnation state yet. Just what was going on. But this was what they wanted to see the most. As long as Longao's cultivation state couldn't recover to the Chaos Reincarnation state, they would still have a chance. Kill Longao and steal the 9 Revolutions Chaos Mantra. As for Longao's life or death, none of them cared. In the next second, be it Longao or Emo Wu Tian, both of them had already started moving. Their speed was extremely fast. Like a bolt of lightning, they clashed fiercely against each other. Boom, 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 boom. Both of them had chosen the most direct way of fighting. As they clashed, the sounds of their collisions rang out through the 9 heavens. Countless martial artists surged in as cries of shock rang out from all directions. Everyone knew that the Dragon Sect's master and Emo Wu Tian were fighting. If they were of the same cultivation state, then so be it. But more importantly, the Dragon Sect's master was just a Chaos Life and Death state martialist, not a Chaos Reincarnation state martialist. Could the Dragon Sect's master win? Many people didn't think highly of Longao. They thought that Longao would definitely lose this battle, and Emo Wu Tian would definitely win. Hurry and look. Longao is definitely going to lose. Master Emo Wu Tian is way too strong. Don't even talk about Chaos Life and Death state martialists. Even if they were of the same cultivation state, There would only be a handful of people who could beat Master Imo Wutian. Nangong Yin and Master Godly Mathematician stared fixedly at the battle before them. Until now, they still couldn't figure out what had given Longao the courage to challenge Imo Wutian. No matter what, Imo Wutian's strength was there for all to see. What do you think? Longao is currently only at the peak of the chaos life and death state. He's still a step away from the chaos reincarnation state. Moreover, compared to us, it's completely impossible. However, Longao won't do anything rash. This time, there will be trouble. Master Godly Mathematician nodded in agreement. Longao has endured for 3,000 years in seclusion cultivation, and even now, he still hasn't successfully returned to the chaos reincarnation state. This is truly inconceivable. However, I have a bad feeling that Longao is definitely not simple. At this point, Master Godly Mathematician didn't continue speaking. The two looked at each other, and from their eyes, they understood each other's intentions. No matter how the battle between Longao and Imo Wutian turned out, they wouldn't hesitate to join forces to deal with Longao, even if there were so many people watching. Face was indeed important, but compared to killing Longao, it wasn't worth mentioning. The two of them were wary of Longao, a person who could create the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos mantra and was infinitely close to the Grand Tao of Primal Chaos. It was hard to imagine how strong such a person would be once he returned to the chaos reincarnation state. However, there was one thing that was without a doubt. Once Longao's cultivation base really broke through to the chaos reincarnation state, not to mention one-on-one, even if the three of them joined forces, they might not be a match for Longao. After all, they already knew that Death God Duanmu Jin had a grudge with Longao. The two of them had once fought, but Death God Duanmu Jin had never been able to defeat Longao. It could be imagined just how powerful Longao's strength was. The battle between Longao and Imo Wutian continued to escalate, reaching a white-hot stage. If it were any other chaos life and death expert, they wouldn't even be able to withstand 3 moves. Only Longao, despite being in the chaos life and death realm, was infinitely close to the chaos reincarnation state. Reincarnation, transcendence. At this time, Longao finally used his 4th ability, the pinnacle of reincarnation, transcendence. Chapter 3258. Reincarnation, Transcendence. Longao's body exploded with a terrifying power that engulfed the entire world. Imo Wutian, who was originally full of confidence, was forced to retreat under the continuous attacks. His face changed. Nangong Yin and Master Godly Mathematician were completely stunned as they exclaimed, "Reincarnation Transcendence." Many people had witnessed Longao's reincarnation sacred art with their own eyes. Longao's self-created 9 Revolution Chaos Sutra had 4 sacred arts in the 7th Revolution. Under normal circumstances, for Longao to master the reincarnation sacred art, especially the peak reincarnation sacred art, he would have to wait until Longao's cultivation base broke through the chaos reincarnation sacred art. But now, Longao's cultivation base had clearly not recovered to the chaos reincarnation sacred art. How could he master reincarnation transcendence? Just what was going on? At this moment, Nangong Yin and Master Godly Mathematician finally understood why Longao was so confident to fight Imo Wutian. It was because he had already mastered reincarnation transcendence. No matter how shocked they were, they could not change the fact. Everyone knew what reincarnation transcendence meant. Reincarnation transcendence. Imo Wutian's face was dark as he increased the intensity of his attacks. The two of them continued to exchange blows, but the most they could achieve was a draw. Longao had a rough understanding of his current strength. The absolute difference in cultivation base made it impossible for him to kill Imo Wutian even if he mastered reincarnation transcendence. In Longao's opinion, if he wanted to kill Imo Wutian smoothly, his cultivation base would have to break through to the chaos reincarnation sacred art. It was easy to think of it, but difficult to do it. Longao has already grasped the reincarnation transcendence realm. At this rate, once Longao recovers his primal chaos reincarnation realm, not to mention Imo Wutian, even if the 3 of us join forces, we may not be a match for Longao. Master Godly Mathematician nodded. How could he not know what Nangong-yin was talking about? His face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could get. The two of them could not understand why Longao could master reincarnation transcendence when his cultivation base had not recovered to the chaos reincarnation sacred art. Just what was going on? He could not figure it out. However, both of them knew very well that if they didn't get rid of this person as soon as possible, once Longao's cultivation returned to the chaos reincarnation state, the consequences would be unimaginable. By then, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. What do you want? Attack together. Kill him with all your might. It was easy to say. They were all dignified primal chaos reincarnation cultivators. With their statuses, if they were to join forces to deal with Longao, where would they put their face? We don't have any other way now. Longao's strength has far exceeded our understanding. All right, the longer the delay, the more disadvantageous it would be for the three of them. End the battle quickly. Now that things had reached this point, both Nangong-yin and the God Diviner had given up on face. As long as they could kill Longao, they were willing to pay any price. Just as Emo Wu Tian and Longao were locked in battle, the situation suddenly changed. 1 against 3. Given Longao's current strength, even if he had mastered the reincarnation transcendence, it would still be troublesome for him to fight against the combined forces of the three of them. The three of them joining forces? How shameless. Shut up. Are you tired of living to talk about the three of them? The faces of the spectators were filled with mockery and disdain. After all, Emo Wu Tian and Longao were fighting one-on-one, and it was a fair fight. To think that Nangong-yin and the God Diviner would suddenly appear, this was shameless to the extreme. But the winner was the king, and the loser was the bandit. Everyone was only looking at the results, and no one was willing to look at the process. Once Longao fell, who would still dare to call the three of them shameless? Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. What a shameless Emo Wu Tian. Nangong-yin, God Diviner. You guys are truly shameless to the extreme. This was supposed to be a fair fight, but since the three of them were shameless, there was no way Longao would stay here any longer. Turning around, he disappeared without a trace. Emo Wu Tian did not go back on his essence spirit oath. However, his face was extremely grim right now. He had not expected that Longao would be able to fight against him even before his cultivation state was restored to chaos reincarnation state. It was hard to imagine that once Longao's cultivation state was restored to chaos reincarnation state, Emo Wu Tian would definitely not be a match for Longao. Just the thought of it was enough to make him excited. However, Longao had the Chaos Palace. Even if the three of them were to join forces to kill Longao, they would not be able to lock onto Longao. That was the crux of the matter. As long as they could not destroy the Chaos Palace, it would be impossible for them to deal with Longao. Emo Wu Tian, how do you feel? Very powerful. Back then, Longao relied on reincarnation to surpass all other Chaos Reincarnation State experts of the same level. Even Death God Duanmujin was not a match for Longao. Although I don't know how Longao did it, I can tell you that once Longao recovers to Chaos Reincarnation State, even if we join forces, we will not be able to defeat him. Nangong-yin and Master God Diviner already knew about this. That was the reason why their expressions were so grave. Emo Wu Tian, we know what you mean. However, Longao has the Chaos Palace in his hands. I don't need to say more. You guys should know what the Chaos Palace represents. As long as we are unable to destroy the Chaos Palace, it will be impossible for us to deal with Longao. In the distance, everyone looked at Longao's sudden disappearance and sighed. A Chaos Samsara expert had actually escaped safely from the joint attack of 3 Chaos Reincarnation State experts. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. If it was a one-on-one battle, Longao's strength was enough to contend against any one of the 3. This was the strength of the Dragon Sect's master. According to the rumors, the Dragon Sect's master had a close female friend who was also a Chaos Reincarnation State expert. Just thinking about it made one realize what kind of concept it was. In the beginning, No one put the dragon sect in their eyes. However, the situation was completely different now. Longao's strength had convinced many people. The news of Longao fighting one against 3 Chaos Reincarnation State experts quickly spread throughout the Chaos Realm's 99 heavens. Anyone who received the news was shocked. It was hard to imagine that a puny Chaos Samsara expert could contend against 3 Chaos Reincarnation State experts at the same time. One had to admit that Longao was indeed very strong. However, it was said that what started as a fair battle turned into 3 people joining forces to deal with Longao. Ridicule could be heard everywhere. After all, the 3 people's status was there. Not to mention the 3 of them joining forces, even one of them would be lowering their status. Chapter 3259. Regarding this battle, Longao already had a whole new understanding. 4th Sacred Art, Reincarnation Transcendence. Longao knew full well that breaking through to the 8th revolution of the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex was a task he couldn't accomplish. His top priority was to find a way to break through to the reincarnation realm. The 8th revolution. Longao was looking forward to the 8th revolution. When he first reached the peak of the 7th revolution, Reincarnation Transcendence, he was only one step away from the 8th revolution when a mysterious force stopped him. Whether he would succeed or not was still unknown. He was helpless. Until now, Longao still could not figure out what was the reason for his cultivation to be unable to break through. The sacred body of chaos? That was utter nonsense. Although the sacred body of chaos hindered his cultivation, as long as he could devour enough energy, he could break through. But what was the result? It had nothing to do with the sacred body of chaos. If that was the case, then what was going on? Even Longao couldn't figure it out. Brother Dragon, you can already contend with Wu Yin. As long as Nangong and the Oracle aren't here, we can deal with Imo, Wu Yin, and Judas. We don't need to team up with Sangya and Han Wu. Longao nodded. How could he not know what Qin Shuang meant? Before he mastered Reincarnation Transcendence, he'd have to team up with Han Wu and Sangya to deal with Imo, Wu Yin, and Judas. Only then would they have a chance to kill Wu Yin and tame the Judas. But now, things were different. Since mastering Reincarnation Transcendence, Longao's strength was enough to contend with Wu Yin. There was no need to team up with Han Wu and Sangya. Their combined strength was enough to keep Wu Yin in check. The Judas would be left to Longao to deal with. Because of this, Longao didn't leave First Sky. Brother Dragon, what do you plan to do next? Wait. Qin Shuang didn't ask any more questions. She already knew what her brother meant. Now wasn't the time to act. Unless something unexpected happened, Nangong and the Oracle were still in the Demon Palace. If they acted now, they'd only end up worse off. He could only wait. Once Nangong and the Oracle left the Demon Palace, that would be the best time to deal with Wu Yin and Judas. There were countless casualties on Tongtian Peak. This included countless Chaos Warriors. The matter of heaven reaching peak shook the entire Chaos realm. At this point, still, no one had obtained the primal Chaos Refining Flame Pagoda. Many people guessed that the Tongtian Peak was simply a trap. Otherwise, why would the heaven connecting peak collapse for no reason? Other than the dozens of primal chaos reincarnation martial artists who had successfully made it out, the rest had all perished. What kind of concept was that? No one knew who the main culprit was. Perhaps even the primal chaos reincarnation martial artists did not know. In fact, the main culprit was Longao. If Longao hadn't taken away the primal chaos refining tower, the Heaven's Link Peak wouldn't have collapsed, and the people who stayed in the Heaven's Link Peak wouldn't have all died. Within the Devil Palace, Nangong and Master God Diviner didn't leave. The 3 of them knew that given Longao's current strength, none of them would be able to kill him. After separating, it was even more impossible to kill Longao. If it was just Longao alone, it wouldn't matter. But the biggest problem was that Longao still had a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist by his side. What kind of concept was that? The 3 of them knew that once they separated, Longao could join forces with Qin Shuang and casually find one of them. It was obvious what the outcome would be. They were helpless. Even though they didn't want to admit it, The truth was right before their eyes. There was nothing they could do. The two of you, what should we do now? Mo Wutian was also extremely depressed. Never in his wildest dreams had he imagined that things would turn out this way. In fact, the three of them didn't even dare to separate. To the three of them, this was simply a humiliation, an enormous humiliation. So what if it was a humiliation? So what if they were angry? Things had come to this, and they couldn't change it. The divine mathematician said helplessly, now that Longao hasn't recovered his primal chaos reincarnation realm, we might still have a chance. Once Longao recovers his vision, and with Qin Shuangshuang's help, then. At this point, the divine mathematician didn't finish his words. But the meaning of his words was clear. How could the other two not understand the logic behind it? They were helpless. The situation had completely exceeded their scope of understanding. Back then, they had failed to kill Longao and had already lost the initiative. Now, it was too late for regrets. No matter the price, we have to kill Longao with all our might. We have to let the tiger return to the mountain for future trouble. It was easy to think about it, but to truly kill Longao was easier said than done. Han Wu and Sangya also received the news. Both of them were helpless, because they had never imagined that Longao had already grasped the transcendence of reincarnation in less than a few months, and could even contend against Mo Wutian. If it was Longao at his peak, then it would be fine. But the most helpless thing was that in the battle between Longao and Mo Wutian, Longao was only a primal chaos life and death, and not a primal chaos reincarnation. The two sighed. As expected of the number one person under the primal chaos realm, it seemed that after reincarnating, Longao had become even more powerful. His cultivation hadn't broken through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, but he could already fight against Mo Wutian. It was hard to imagine that once Longao recovered his primal chaos reincarnation realm, even if he didn't need to reach the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm, he could still look down on any cultivator of the same level. The angriest one was Gu Hao. Ever since his cultivation recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, he hadn't made a move against Longao. In his opinion, Longao was nothing to worry about, so he was busy fighting for the primal chaos realm. But right now, it seemed like he was wrong. Way too wrong. For him to be able to do something like this, it was enough to prove Longao's innate potential and strength. At the peak of the mountain, Gu Hao stood against the wind and looked at the endless void before him. There wasn't any expression on his face. But just at this moment, Gu Hao gripped his fists tightly and muttered to himself coldly, Longao, I hope that you won't disappoint me. The day you break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm will be the day I kill you. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The primal chaos realm was split into 4 parts. Right now, the primal chaos realm was split between the ancient sect, the Domain Lord Alliance, the Pill Hall, and the Devil Palace. On the other hand, the Dragon sect had been biding their time, guarding the Black Stone heavenly region. As for the intentions of the Dragon sect, no one knew about them. After all, given the strength of the Dragon sect right now, they definitely had the rights to fight for the primal chaos realm. The ancient sect had only started to develop in the recent 100-odd years. However, their speed of development was extremely fast. In just a short 100-odd years, they had already surpassed the other 3 superforces. Chapter 3260. Chaos Realm. On the surface, it was calm, but in reality, the wind was blowing and the clouds were moving. The 4 superforces were restless, wanting to destroy each other and dominate the Chaos Realm. It was easy to think about it, but it was difficult to do it. How was that possible? To destroy a superforce, one had to kill the Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist guarding it. Otherwise, everything would be nonsense. But to destroy a Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist was easier said than done. It was almost impossible. The one with the most hope was Mo Wutian, but even Mo Wutian didn't have full confidence. If the other Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists chose to die together, the consequences would be obvious. If Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician were to help, it would be a different concept. But the result? Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician didn't interfere in this matter at all. Their goal was simple, to kill Longao. not to mention the two of them, except for Gu Hao and Imo Wu Yin. Almost all the Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists didn't have the intention to dominate the Chaos Realm. Their only goal was to prove their Tao. The four super forces fought with each other, and the battle kept escalating. At this moment, the five elements' old ancestor led the dragon sect to rise quickly. He specialized in fighting the ancient sect and the demon palace. Among the five elements, he had already joined forces with the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall. The current dragon sect also had a Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist guarding it. Although Longao's cultivation hadn't broken through the Chaos Reincarnation Realm, his strength was enough to fight against a Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artist. Blackstone Heavenly Region. Duan Hun's figure appeared. He looked coldly at the dragon peak in front of him and said directly, "Longao, an old friend is here. Come out and meet me." His voice rolled out, changing the surroundings of the dragon peak. There was no response. What was going on? Duan Hun's face instantly darkened. He could almost be sure that Longao was definitely not in the dragon peak. Otherwise, it was impossible for him not to appear. At this moment, the five elements' old ancestor quickly arrived in front of Duan Hun. "Senior, I wonder why you're looking for the master?" Chaos Life and Death Realm martial artists were just slightly bigger ants in front of Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists. "Where's Longao? The master is not here. Tell him that I'll be waiting for him at Soulbreak Valley." After saying that, he left. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. The Five Elements Patriarch didn't know what the other party meant, but he didn't dare to hesitate and immediately spread the news. Longao, who was still in the Black Stone Heavenly Domain, was also very curious after hearing the news. He didn't know why Duan Hun was looking for him at this time. "Big Brother Long, you and Duan Hun were enemies, not friends. This time, he came to find you for no good reason." He nodded. How could Longao not know what Shuang Shuang meant? Longao was more or less afraid of Duan Hun. Back then, many people wanted to steal his Primal Chaos Palace and 9 Revolution Primal Chaos formula. However, no one was a match for him. Duan Mujin and Duan Hun were exceptions. Duan Hun's strength was unfathomable. This time, he came to find him for absolutely nothing good. "Big Brother Long, you're going?" Qin Shuang knew Longao's character too well. She was very worried. Who knew what kind of tricks Duan Hun was playing? It was better to be safe than sorry. If something happened to Brother Long, she wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Shuang, I have to go this time." Originally, he had stayed in the first heavenly domain to wait for Nangong Yin and Godly Mathematician to leave. Then, he would join forces with them to deal with Imo Wu Yin and Zhu Yin. But now, it seemed like this would have to be delayed. Longao didn't hesitate at all. He immediately stood up and left the first heavenly domain. Soulbreak Valley, Duan Hun's base. It was also the forbidden ground of the Chaos world. Without Duan Hun's permission, anyone who dared to casually step into Soulbreak Valley would die without a doubt. After all, Duan Hun's strength was unfathomable. He was far above Imo Wu Yin and the others. Duan Hun didn't care about anything in the Chaos world. He only wanted to prove his Tao. But after so many years, no matter what he thought of, he couldn't succeed. "Old friend is here. Please come in." Longao sneered in his heart. He took a step forward and came to the center of Soulbreak Valley, in front of a thatched cottage. Duan Hun looked very calm. When he saw Longao suddenly arriving, he made a hand gesture and said with a smile, "Brother Long, it's been thousands of years. How have you been?" Longao didn't stand on ceremony. He immediately sat down and said with a smile, "Duan Hun, there's no need for this between us. If you have something to say, just say it." Straightforward enough. Duan Hun laughed and said with a smile, "Straightforward, that's what I like about Brother Long. Since that's the case, I won't stand on ceremony. Back when Brother Long created the 9 Revolution Chaos formula, you were also infinitely close to proving your Tao. You were only one step away from succeeding. You want to cultivate the 9 Revolution Chaos formula? That's right. Duan Hun, I can tell you clearly that although the 9 Revolution Chaos formula was created by me, I don't know the 8th and 9th revolution. If you are willing, I can teach you the first 7 revolutions. How about it?" Hearing this, Duan Hun's face suddenly lit up. He never thought that Longao would be so straightforward and actually be willing to hand over the 9-revolution chaos formula. He vaguely remembered that when Longao created the 9-revolution chaos formula, many chaos samsara experts tried to snatch it. Some of them even died at that time. Until now, no one had been able to successfully take the 9-revolution chaos formula from Longao. Although it was only the first 7 revolutions, Duan Hun was full of confidence. As long as he could obtain the first 7 revolutions of the 9-revolution chaos formula, then according to his talent and potential, it should not be difficult to create the 8th and 9th revolutions. As for Longao's words, Duan Hun did not have the slightest doubt. After all, if Longao had created the 8th and 9th revolutions, Longao would have succeeded in proving his Tao. However, Duan Hun did not believe that there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. There was no such thing as a free lunch, especially when it came to the 9-revolution chaos formula. He knew very well what it meant. Duan Hun could not figure out why Longao would suddenly hand over the 9-revolution chaos formula. It was a bit inconceivable, but as long as he could get the 9-revolution chaos formula, he was willing to pay any price. Brother Long, you just said that there is no need for this between us. If you have any request, just say it. As long as I can do it, I will not refuse. How about it? Longao sneered in his heart. Of course, he knew that if he did not hand over the 9-revolution chaos formula, then Duan Hun would definitely give up. However, he would definitely not hand over the 8th and 9th revolutions. Chapter 3261. At this time, there was no need to completely fall out with Duan Hun. Longao was confident that even if Duan Hun cultivated the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, so what? Throughout the chaos realm, aside from himself, no one else could cultivate the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, especially when it was missing the 8th and 9th revolutions. Duan Hun wanted to use the 9 revolutions chaos mantra to prove his Tao. It was like the ravings of a lunatic, something that was simply impossible. Longao was certain that if he didn't hand over the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, Duan Hun would deal with him. There was no doubt about that. Then, Longao didn't hesitate. He immediately passed on the first 7 revolutions of the 9 revolutions chaos mantra to Duan Hun. Feeling the 9 revolutions chaos mantra appear in his mind, Duan Hun was ecstatic. He had full confidence in himself. As long as he could get the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, he would have a chance to prove his Tao. He laughed wildly in his heart. Brother Long, tell me your conditions. Longao smiled. Without the slightest courtesy, Longao said, I only have one condition. Please speak. Kilimo Wutian. Before coming, Longao already knew that Duan Hun would want the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, but he couldn't give it away for free. His condition was to kill Imo Wutian. That way, his chances of subduing the Judas would be much higher. Duan Hun was surprised. He didn't expect Longao to raise such a condition. If it were any other cultivator, Duan Hun wouldn't even think about it. After all, with his strength, killing an ordinary cultivator was a matter of minutes. Only a Chaos Realm cultivator, and Imo Wutian at that. Imo Wutian's situation was troublesome. With the Judas by his side, no matter how strong he was, he couldn't kill Imo Wutian alone. But Longao had already passed the 9 revolutions chaos mantra to him. If he didn't comply, it would be unreasonable. Besides, Duan Hun was no fool. If Longao handed over the 9 revolutions chaos mantra so easily, he must have a trick up his sleeve. Giving up the 9 revolutions chaos mantra to avoid Imo Wutian was not worth it. How should he choose? How could Longao not know what Imo Wutian was thinking? He didn't say anything and just sat there quietly. Previously, when he imparted the 9 revolution chaos formula, he had left a backup plan. Although it was the first 7 revolutions, the 7th revolution was only half of it. Without his half, the 9 revolution chaos formula was nothing. That was indeed the case. Longao wasn't worried at all. Even if Duan Hun rejected him, he wouldn't lose anything. This way, Duan Hun would have no excuse to cause trouble for him. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Time trickled by. After an unknown period of time. Brother Long, Forgive me for speaking bluntly. My strength alone is not enough to take on 2 people at once, let alone kill a Mo Wu Tian. This is truly making things difficult for me. Having already guessed that Duan Hun would say this, Longao wasn't surprised at all. You just have to help me pin down a Mo Wu Tian. Once I've dealt with the Candle Shadow Beast, you and I can work together to kill Mo Wu Tian. Since that's the case, I'll agree to it. First, he would pin down a Mo Wu Tian. Then, he would join forces with Longao to kill a Mo Wu Tian. This was an easy task for Duan Hun. For this, he would be able to obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. This was an extremely worthwhile task for Duan Hun. Duan Hun, there's another troublesome matter. In order to deal with me, Nangong Yin and the Godly Diviner are currently in the Devil Palace. At this point, Longao did not continue speaking. However, the meaning behind his words was clear. Duan Hun was no fool. Naturally, he knew that Longao was doing this on purpose. Had he been tricked? Only, if he didn't look for Longao, Longao wouldn't take the initiative to come. Seemed like he had to suffer in silence. Brother Long, you think too highly of me? Ha ha ha. Duan Hun, you've misunderstood my meaning. We can definitely think of a way to lure Nangong Yin and the Godly Diviner away. What do you think? I'm fine with it. Even if there was a problem, Duan Hun would agree for the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. After so many years, he had thought of countless ways to prove his Tao, but none of them had succeeded. It could be said that the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula was his last hope. Now that he had obtained it with great difficulty, how could Duan Hun choose to give it up so easily? It was complete nonsense. As for dealing with a Mo Wu Tian, Duan Hun didn't care at all. So what if he provoked a Mo Wu Tian? He didn't care at all, as long as he could prove his Tao. So what if he offended all the Chaos Reincarnation cultivators? Proving his Tao was the only thing. After a short discussion between Longao and Duan Hun, Longao got up and left the valley. Brother Long, do you think Duan Hun will play tricks with me? Longao nodded. Of course, he knew what Shuang was worried about. He smiled and said, according to my guess, Duan Hun won't act immediately. He will definitely cultivate the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula that I taught him. As long as he can reach the first stage, he will help me. Qin Shuang wasn't excited at all. Instead, she became even more worried. She said, Brother Long, you should know better than me what the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula means. In the entire Chaos world, besides you, no one can successfully cultivate the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula, even if it's only the first stage. Qin Shuang was too confident about this. Back then, she had personally cultivated the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula, but she had no clue. If that was the case, how could Duan Hun succeed in cultivating the first stage of the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula? It was complete nonsense. In this case, not only would Duan Hun not help Brother Long, he would even turn hostile. At that time, it would be troublesome. Duan Hun's situation was different. Duan Hun's strength was very strong, not something a Mo Wu Tian could compare to. In a one-on-one battle, Duan Hun's strength was enough to rank in the top 5 of the Chaos world. He was even on the same level as Duamu Jin. What kind of concept was this? Don't worry, I have arranged everything. Longao's face was full of confidence. He smiled and said, Shuang, if it was in the past, I would have no way. But now, I can create a cultivation method that is infinitely close to the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula, according to the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. Therefore, Duan Hun will not be able to cultivate the first stage. He can even cultivate the next 6 stages. However, it won't be the real 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. Qin Shuang wasn't a fool. She instantly understood Longao's meaning. The more she thought about it, the more amused she felt. In this way, Duan Hun would have played for nothing. In the end, she still had to thank Brother Long. What should we do now? Chapter 3262. Wait. Under such circumstances, he could only wait. Longao knew that if he wanted Duan Hun to help him deal with Mo Wu Tian, he would have to let Duan Hun cultivate the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra first. In the entire Chaos realm, Only he could tell if the 9 Revolution Chaos mantra was real or fake. No one else could, including Duan Hun. Longao had full confidence in this point. Longao did not continue to stay, but returned to the first heavenly domain. The current chaos realm was still in chaos. The 4 super forces were in a chaotic battle, and there were countless casualties. However, if the chaos reincarnation realm martial artists in charge did not fall, it would be difficult to determine the victor. Although the dragon sect had intervened, they did not fight for territory. They were still holed up in the black stone heavenly domain. Nangong Yin, godly mathematician, and Mo Wutian, the 3 chaos reincarnation realm martial artists, were not thinking about fighting for the chaos realm. Even Mo Wutian was the same. The reason was simple. The 3 of them wanted to kill Longao, because the strength that Longao had displayed was enough to explain everything. The 3 of them were almost certain. Once Longao's cultivation base recovered to the chaos reincarnation realm, even if the 3 of them joined forces, they might not be a match for Longao. How could they not be afraid? How could they not be afraid? Demon Palace, Great Hall. The 3 of them had gloomy expressions, because they could not deal with Longao just because they wanted to. As long as Longao continued to hide in the Primal Chaos Hall and refused to come out, there was nothing they could do. They could only watch helplessly as Longao smoothly broke through from the chaotic life and death state to the chaotic reincarnation state. The 3 of them had seen how heaven-defying the Chaos Palace was, and they could not lock it down. Unless a Tao-confirming martial artist came personally, there might be a chance of breaking the Chaos Palace. With just the 3 of them joining forces, it was impossible. Tell me, given the current situation, what should we do? The 3 of them knew that with the enmity between them and Longao, once Longao recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation realm, he would definitely find trouble with them. Currently, Longao was only a chaotic life and death warrior. Although Longao could contend against Mo Wutian, it was still a pipe dream for him to fight 1 against 3. As long as they could meet force with force, the 3 of them were confident that they could kill Longao. But Longao didn't do that at all. This was the most crucial point. What should he do? Master God Diviner's expression was cold as he said, given Longao's talent, he should have broken through the Primal Chaos reincarnation level in 3,000 years by now. Hearing the godly mathematician's words, Nangong Yin and Mo Wutian's hearts shook. Neither of them said anything as they stared at Master God Diviner. After thinking for a while, the marvelous mathematician continued, according to my guess, if there is no accident, Longao must have encountered some trouble in his cultivation, causing his cultivation to be unable to break through the chaos samsara realm. So what? Nangongyin said helplessly, even if Longao's cultivation encountered some kind of obstacle that prevented him from returning to the chaos samsara realm in a short period of time, it doesn't mean that he will never be able to return to the chaos samsara realm. You should know that as long as Longao has the Chaos Palace, we won't be able to do anything to him. This way, Longao will have plenty of time to cultivate. Master God Diviner nodded and said in agreement, indeed. Nangong Yin and Mo Wutian were very curious. They didn't know what Master God Diviner meant. It was very depressing. I don't know if you've heard of a treasure that can lock onto anything in a specific space. Even if Longao's Chaos Palace is powerful, as long as it's enveloped by this treasure. Master God Diviner didn't continue speaking. He just smiled at the 2 people in front of him. His meaning was very clear. Evil Moon? Whether it was Nangong Yin or Mo Wutian, after hearing Master God Diviner's words, both of them were stunned. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. It was impossible for any chaotic martial artist who had reached a certain level not to know Evil Moon, because Evil Moon was a legend in the chaotic realm. It had never occurred to them that the marvelous mathematician would suddenly mention Evil Moon. Master Godly Mathematician, you should know what Evil Moon means. The universal space you just mentioned is Evil Moon's treasure. How could he lend it to you? If you anger him, all 3 of us will be in trouble. They were too afraid of Evil Moon. Evil Moon was the legendary strongest chaos reincarnation martial artist. He had been famous for countless years. Even before they reached the Chaos Reincarnation realm, Evil Moon was already a legend. Back then, when Longao was known as the #1 person below Tao validation, He did not include Evil Moon because Evil Moon had already left Jianghu. Legend had it that Evil Moon had started to cultivate in seclusion countless years ago to reach the final Dao validation realm. However, whether he succeeded or not was still unknown. In any case, Evil Moon was a person who could not be provoked. If he failed, Evil Moon would deal with the three of them. It would be like trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. Master Godly Mathematician, what are you thinking? Master Godly Mathematician did not have much confidence in himself. However, Longao's strength was too strong, especially when things had already reached this stage. It was either you die or I die, so it was better to fight. Maybe they could use Evil Moon's power to kill Longao. You two know Longao's situation better than I do. All we can do now is fight. However, I am certain that Evil Moon has not succeeded in his Dao validation. If that is the case, we can tell Evil Moon that even if Longao has the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex, the Chaos Beasts, and the 9 Chaos Beasts, they can help him succeed. Think about it, if Evil Moon is willing to help, then Longao's death is certain. As soon as Master Godly Mathematician finished speaking, Wu Tianmo immediately spoke up. No, I cannot agree to this. Why? Asked the Godly Mathematician and Nangong Yin at the same time. They didn't know why Mo Wu Tian had such a big reaction. Could it be that Mo Wu Tian didn't want to see Longao die? Master Godly Mathematician, you know what you've just done. Even if you can kill Longao, you will lose my Judas. At this point, the two understood what Wu Tianmo was trying to say. If Evil Moon tried to steal the Chaos Codex, he would gather all 10 Chaos Beasts. Longao only had 9 Chaos Beasts, and Judas was the only one missing. It was easy to imagine what would happen. Wu Tianmo, for the sake of the big picture, sometimes sacrifices are inevitable. Sacrifice my ass. Why don't you sacrifice yourself? Don't even think about taking Judas. Even if I die, I won't let anything happen to him. Chapter 3263. Nangong Yin and Master Clairvoyant said nothing more. Back Mountain. Wu Tianmo had arranged a restricted area for the two. Under normal circumstances, no one would disturb them. If Wu Tianmo doesn't agree, it will be difficult. If this were any other time, they wouldn't have cared if Wu Tianmo agreed or not. But now, things were different. They had joined forces with Wu Tianmo to deal with Longao. It wasn't a good idea to break all pretense of cordiality. In this world, there were no eternal enemies, nor were there eternal friends. There were only eternal interests. All we need to do is inform Evil Moon, and he will deal with Longao. Whether or not he will deal with Judas is no longer our concern. That's the way it is. Longao entered the first heaven and waited for Abominable Soul's reply. According to his calculations, Abominable Soul should have a response in a few months. 3 months later, the Demon Palace. High in the sky, thousands of miles of clouds. Abominable Soul and Longao's figures appeared. They stared coldly at the 3 humans and 1 beast before them. Abominable Soul, what is the meaning of this? Seeing Abominable Soul standing beside Longao, the 3 of them wore solemn expressions. Of course they knew Abominable Soul wouldn't appear here for no reason. Nangong Yin, Godly Mathematician, this time, Longao and I are dealing with Mo Wu Tian. It has nothing to do with the 2 of you. Let me give you a word of advice. You'd better leave. Otherwise, even if we have to go to the ends of the earth, Longao and I will hunt you down. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Shuangshuang's figure emerged from his chaotic dantian. They were completely confused. They couldn't figure out why Abominable Soul would suddenly help Longao. What was going on? Abominable Soul. Before Wu Tianmo could speak, Abominable Soul waved his hand impatiently. Wu Tianmo, accept your fate. Nangong Yin and Master Clairvoyant weren't worried in the slightest. It was as if they didn't care for their opponent. Duan Han, are you really going to help Longao? Looking at the 2 people before him, Duan Han's heart shook. With his strength, the other party should be afraid of him. However, for some unknown reason, he kept feeling that something was amiss. As for what was wrong, he couldn't put his finger on it. Not to mention Duan Han and Longao. Even Imo Tian had no idea what the two of them were thinking. There was no need to mention Duan Hun's strength. Back then, Duan Hun and Duanmu Jin were extremely powerful. Ordinary primal chaos samsara martial artists were no match for the two of them. Imo Tian did not believe that the two of them would offend Duan Hun for him. It was completely impossible. If it weren't for the fact that they had to deal with Longao, the two of them would have left long ago. Right at this moment, suddenly, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the clouds thousands of miles above the nine heavens. In just a short while, the entire cloud peak was filled with thunderclouds, which began to rumble incessantly. "Brother Long, be careful." Long Ao nodded. Of course, he knew that things were getting troublesome, but he still didn't know what was going on. Under the cover of the thunderclouds, a black figure suddenly appeared. Evil Moon? Whether it was Long Ao, Qin Shuangshuang, or Duan Hun, none of them had ever seen Evil Moon before. After all, when they became primal chaos samsara martial artists, Evil Moon was already a legend. The three of them could only guess that the man who had appeared before them was the legendary Evil Moon. If that was the case, then they were in big trouble. Evil Moon sneered, coldly looked at the young man in front of him, and coldly asked, "You are Long Ao?" Beside him, Imo Tian's anger had reached a boiling point. He knew what was going on, and if he wasn't mistaken, the two of them must have told Evil Moon about what had happened behind his back. If he could borrow Evil Moon's strength to deal with Long Ao, that would be the best outcome. But if Evil Moon decided to go after Judas, what would he do then? So what if he was angry? Imo Tian didn't dare provoke Evil Moon. After all, Evil Moon was a legend. So what if I am? Ha ha ha, not bad. Not bad at all. After so many years of seclusion, I didn't expect chaos to produce someone like you. Someone who can create a method of your own. What do you want? Evil Moon laughed. I can spare your life, but you must hand over the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex, the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram, and the 9 Divine Beasts. What do you say? The 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex alone was not enough to summon Evil Moon. The way Evil Moon saw it, if the 9 Revolutions Chaos Codex could really prove a path, then Long Ao would be a primal chaos warrior by now. How could he fail? The reason why Evil Moon had appeared was because of the Chaos Divine Beast Diagram and the 9 Divine Beasts of Chaos. Of course, he knew what the diagram and the 9 Divine Beasts of Chaos meant. Although he was known as the strongest cultivator below the Great Path Realm, he had not been able to successfully prove his path after so many years. However, if he could obtain the Chaos Divine Beast Diagram and the 9 Divine Beasts of Chaos, he might be able to successfully prove his way. Until now, Evil Moon still could not believe that someone could obtain the Chaos Divine Beast Diagram and even gather the 9 Divine Beasts of Chaos. Hearing Evil Moon's words, Duan Hun, who was standing beside Long Ao, was also shocked. He also knew what the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and the 9 Divine Beasts represented. Although he was shocked, Duan Hun was very afraid of Evil Moon. He thought that his strength was not enough to compete with Evil Moon. Was it worth it for Long Ao? However, Duan Hun didn't leave. He wanted to see what would happen next. If Long Ao was willing to hand over these things, then Evil Moon would leave. At that time, everything would still be under his control. Tell me, why should I give it to you? Qin Shuangshuang held Long Ao's hand tightly. Although she didn't say anything, she was extremely worried. She had heard about the legend of Evil Moon, but she never thought that Evil Moon would appear at this time. Others might not know, but how could Qin Shuangshuang not know? It was impossible for Brother Long to hand over the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram and the 9 Divine Beasts, not to mention the real 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. Once they completely fell out, it would mean something that Imo Wutian and the others wanted to see the most. However, in the next second, Long Ao moved his mind, and Qin Shuangshuang disappeared from the spot and returned to the chaotic Dantian. Do you know the consequences of doing this? Evil Moon, I respect you as a senior, but don't think that you can order me around. The 9 Revolution Chaos Formula and the Chaos Mythological Beast Diagram? Dream on. Maybe your dream will come true. Chapter 3264. The moment these words came out, The crowd went into an uproar. They had seen arrogant people before, but this was the first time they had seen someone this arrogant. Imo Wutian and the others were clear that even Longao at his peak might not be a match for Evil Moon, let alone the current Longao. Legends had it that Evil Moon was only a step away from proving his Tao. What sort of a concept was that? He glared at the young man before him. Evil Moon had not expected the other party to say something like that. He was stunned for a moment. Next, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. He reared his head and laughed maniacally. For so many years, he had never seen anyone who dared to provoke him in such a manner. Instead of getting angry, Evil Moon laughed coldly. Longao, you're pretty good. I admire your courage as well. To think that you would dare to speak to me in such a manner. Who do you think you are? Longao knew that since Evil Moon had appeared, he would definitely not let him off easily. Since that was the case, why should he be polite? Nangongyin seized this opportunity and stood out immediately. Senior Evil Moon. Since Longao doesn't know what's good for him. Senior, please take action. Bootlicker. Ignoring Longao. If it were a head-on fight, Nangongyin wouldn't be afraid of Longao at all. However, the Chaos Palace in Longao's hands was the biggest problem. He would only take action if he had no other choice. If he had any other choice, he would not have done so. From the beginning till the end, Imo Wutian had not spoken a single word. He was furious in his heart. He did not know whether he wanted Longao to be killed or not. If this matter did not involve his Candle Shadow God Beast, he would definitely be willing to see Evil Moon kill Longao. He could cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, and he could even obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. But now, things were different. Since Evil Moon already knew about the Chaos Beast diagram, he must know that he had to gather all 10 Chaos God Beasts to open it. And Longao only had 9 Chaos God Beasts in his hands. The only one missing was his Candle Shadow God Beast. Once Evil Moon obtained the Chaos Beast diagram and the 9 Chaos God Beasts, there was no doubt about it. Evil Moon would definitely ask him for his Candle Shadow God Beast. By then, should he give it or not? He couldn't bear to give it. After so many years, it would be a lie to say that he had no feelings for the Zhuin mythical beast. On the other hand, the God Beast was one of the 10 Chaos God Beasts. Its strength. Imo Wutian was clear that the reason he could suppress Han Wu and Sangya was not because he was strong, but because he had the Candle Shadow Beast by his side. Evil Moon. There was no need to mention Evil Moon's strength. According to legend, Evil Moon had fought against 3 Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists by himself. Not only had he heavily injured 2 Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists, he had even killed one of them. Imo Wutian did not have the slightest confidence that he could win against Evil Moon. Even if he joined forces with Judas, it would still be the same. Now that things had come to this point, the outcome was not something he could decide. Longao, I heard that you obtained a heaven-defying Primal Chaos Palace. Even Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists cannot lock onto it. You are relying on this Primal Chaos Palace, right? Longao did not speak, but the expression on his face already explained everything. It was true. Longao had full confidence in his chaotic Dantian. If it had been just the Chaos Hall, Evil Moon might not have been able to lock onto it. But now, it was a completely different concept. The Primal Chaos Palace had already fused with his Dantian and formed a brand new Primal Chaos Dantian. Under such circumstances, even Evil Moon could not lock onto his Primal Chaos Dantian unless a Tao Vindication martial artist personally came. Ha ha ha, Longao, I also want to see the power of your Chaos Hall. But before that, you have to enter it first. Longao's heart skipped a beat. Of course, he knew what Evil Moon meant. According to the legends, Evil Moon had once roamed the Chaos Realm and obtained a heaven-defying Chaos Relic. It was called the Inkuan Space. It was said to be a self-contained space with great power. Evil Moon was able to fight 1 against 3, severely injuring 2 and killing 1. Aside from his own strength, the most important reason was the Inkuan Space. It was easy to imagine how powerful Evil Moon's Inkuan Space was. It would be a lie to say he didn't fear it. At this moment, Evil Moon turned to look at Duan Hun, who was beside Longao, and said with a smile, Duan Hun, I have to admit that your strength is already very strong. You can catch up with me if you go one step further. But now, you are not strong enough. I don't want to make things difficult for you. Evil Moon's words were very clear. On the other hand, Duan Hun would not pay attention to any other chaotic reincarnation realm warrior. Only Evil Moon, who was a legendary super expert, seemed to make Duan Hun fearful. But once he chose to leave, he would be embarrassed to continue to ask Longao for the other half of the 7th transformation cultivation method. In this way, he would not be able to reach the peak of the chaos reincarnation realm, let alone vindication. It was completely nonsense. But if he didn't leave, it was obvious that he would be an enemy of Evil Moon. He had no confidence in defeating Evil Moon. What's more, there were 3 other people beside Evil Moon, including the divine beast Juin. Once the battle started, it was obvious what it would mean. His face became more and more ugly. For a moment, Duan Hun didn't know how to choose. Withdraw or continue? If he chose to give up and leave, it was equivalent to giving up the 9 transformation chaos formula. If he chose to continue to stay, there was no doubt that he chose to be an enemy of Evil Moon. Once he started the battle with Evil Moon, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Looking at the expression on Duan Hun's face, Evil Moon already knew what he was thinking. He sneered and asked coldly, You want to be my enemy? I don't dare. Duan Hun was very helpless. He looked at Longao beside him and said helplessly, Brother Long, please forgive me. It doesn't matter. Longao never thought that Duan Hun would help him. It was completely nonsense. If it weren't because he didn't want to completely fall out with Duan Hun, he wouldn't have done this. But this was also good. In this way, even if Duan Hun was thick-skinned, he believed that he would not ask for the 9 transformation chaos formula again in the future. Shrugging helplessly, Duan Hun turned and left, but he stood in the void 1,000 meters away. The reason why Duan Hun didn't leave was very simple. He also wanted to see how things would develop. From a certain point of view, Duan Hun didn't want Longao to die. After all, the 9 transformation chaos formula he had obtained was not complete. Chapter 3265. Imo Wutian, prepare your candle shade. His worst fears had come true. Wutian had been worried that Evil Moon would go after his candle shade. Now it seemed that Evil Moon had already considered the possibility. Silence. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't angry. Imo Wutian knew very well that if he chose to refuse, Evil Moon would definitely attack him. He was no match for Evil Moon. There was no doubt about it. What should he do? Should he just watch as Evil Moon took control of Candle Shade? Standing beside Imo Wutian, the Candle Shade godly beast naturally knew the severity of the situation. He looked at his boss with a deep gaze. He wasn't satisfied. Candle Shade didn't care how strong the enemy was. All he cared about was that he and his boss worked together. He didn't care if he died. Silence. There were some things that were meaningless if spoken aloud. Evil Moon didn't even look at Wutian. In his eyes, Wutian wasn't worth mentioning. From beginning to end, Evil Moon hadn't considered Wutian worthy of his attention. Candle Shade was a sure thing. The most important thing now was to deal with Longao. He needed to get his hands on the beast diagram and the 9 beasts. At the thought that he was about to obtain the legendary treasure and gather the 10 divine beasts of chaos, Evil Moon felt an indescribable excitement. If he could use this opportunity to prove himself, it would be a pleasant surprise. Longao, I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the beast diagram and the 9 beasts, and you can leave. Otherwise, Evil Moon's intentions were clear. Longao understood. He snorted. Putting aside the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, how could he hand over the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts? That was too much. Even if he died, he wouldn't give up the 9 beasts. Evil Moon, I've said it before. If you want the beast diagram and the 9 beasts, you'll have to do it in your dreams. Good. Very good. Longao didn't stay. He knew in his heart that he couldn't fight Evil Moon and the others on his own. It was like throwing an egg against a stone. However, Longao did not enter his chaotic Dantian. If he entered the chaotic Dantian at this time, there would only be one result. Evil Moon would take advantage of this and lock onto his chaotic Dantian. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, it would be a different concept if he immediately entered the primal chaos Dantian at the beginning. If that was the case, Longao was confident that even Evil Moon could not lock onto his chaotic Dantian. But now, the situation was completely different. Before Evil Moon arrived, the universal space had already enveloped him. Longao could clearly feel that he had been enveloped in a strange space, and the aura was very strange. This was the legendary Chinquan space. Are you scared? Seeing that the other party did not speak, Evil Moon thought that the other party was afraid. It could be said that Evil Moon knew nothing about Longao's reign in the chaotic realm. Even if he knew, what could he do? Evil Moon still wouldn't take him seriously. Evil Moon had been famous for a long time. In order to prove his Tao, he chose to cultivate in seclusion. In Evil Moon's opinion, unless a Tao-proving warrior came in person, no one below the Tao-proving realm could be his opponent. Seeing that the other party still did not speak, Evil Moon smiled and said, "In my universal space, I am the master." Is that so? Longao did not continue to hesitate. Since things had already come to this, a battle was inevitable. It was better to fight early than late. In this way, he might be able to seize the initiative. Otherwise, once he was at a disadvantage, the consequences would be unimaginable. You're courting death. Evil Moon did not take the other party seriously at all. He glanced at the three people behind him and said coldly, "The three of you, attack and kill this person for me." Evil Moon did not want to act rashly. No matter what he did, he had already gotten the information about Longao. Anyway, there were three people here as vanguards, especially in his own Chinquan space. There was no need for him to act personally. Since things had already come to this, the three of them had no other choice. Even Imo Wutian, although he was very unwilling, could only choose to agree. Without the slightest hesitation, the three of them, together with the divine beast Juin, quickly rushed towards Longao. Four chaotic Samsara realm warriors joining forces. It was obvious what it meant. If he could hide in the chaotic Dantian, not to mention 4 chaotic Samsara realm warriors at the same time, even if he had to face 40 chaotic Samsara realm warriors at the same time, Longao would not have any fear. But now, the situation was completely different. Because of the universal space, he could not step into the chaotic Dantian at all. If he did, he would definitely be locked on by Evil Moon. The consequences would be unimaginable. At this time, facing Imo Wutian and the other three at the same time was really troublesome. Fighting 1 against 4, Longao directly used his 4th great divine ability, Reincarnation Transcendence. One had to admit that the power of Reincarnation Transcendence was indeed very strong. If it had been before, Longao would not have been able to withstand more than 10 moves. However, after comprehending Reincarnation Transcendence, although his cultivation had not yet returned to the chaotic Samsara realm, his strength was enough to contend with chaotic Samsara realm warriors. Even so, 1 against 4 was not a long-term solution, especially in the universal space. However, Imo Wutian did not use his full strength. Until now, Imo Wutian had not thought of what to do. Of course, he hoped that Longao would be killed. However, if Longao fell, Evil Moon would definitely get the chaotic divine beast diagram and the 9 chaotic divine beasts. At that time, Evil Moon would go all out against him and snatch the divine beast Juin. It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. How should he choose? Evil Moon, who was watching from the side, sensed the power of Longao's great divine ability. His expression changed slightly, and greed was written all over his face. Of course, he could feel the power of the great divine ability that Longao possessed. If he could obtain such a great divine ability, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for him. Gradually, Evil Moon discovered more and more secrets on his opponent. It seemed that he had made the right decision to come out of seclusion this time. Otherwise, missing this opportunity would not have been a wise decision for him. The universal space in Evil Moon's hands was too powerful. Even if Longao tried to break through the universal space, it would be impossible for him to escape. Nangong and the divine mathematician were pleasantly surprised. However, both of them had their own selfish motives. The two of them had already decided that they must snatch Longao's primordial spirit while killing Longao. Chapter 3266. Everyone had their own agendas. As the battle continued to escalate, Longao was starting to find it hard to hold on. 1 against 3 and a chaos god beast. Unless Longao's cultivation state could be restored to chaos reincarnation state, there was no way he could win. This was not the way to go. What should he do? No matter how hard he thought about it, he could not come up with a good idea. Longao's face was getting grimmer and grimmer. Reincarnation transcendence alone was not going to do anything either. Just as Longao was being attacked continuously, suddenly, the situation changed. For some unknown reason, a gigantic vortex appeared within Longao's chaos dantian and started to spin wildly. An endless amount of chaos energy gushed out from his chaos dantian and started to envelop Longao. Lin Fan's heart leaped with joy. Longao had thought that he was doomed this time around. Against such a strong enemy, the slightest bit of carelessness could send him into a state of eternal damnation. Even so, Longao did not want to enter his chaos dantian. He knew clearly what it would mean if Evil Moon were to lock onto his chaos dantian. He would rather die than let Shuang, the 4 girls, and the 9 chaos god beasts suffer any losses. But now, the situation was different. Boom, boom, boom. Longao, who was starting to lose, suddenly found his strength skyrocketing for some unknown reason. Even though he was fighting 1 against 4, he still had the upper hand. What was going on? Even Evil Moon was surprised, let alone Mo Wutian and the other 3. They did not know what was going on with Longao. Why would his strength skyrocket out of nowhere? If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. But the more it was so, the more greedy Evil Moon's face was. Evil Moon realized that there were more and more secrets on Lin Fan. Longao had not expected that his chaos dantian would burst forth with such a terrifying amount of chaos energy. Lin Fan's confidence was boosted. Using reincarnation transcendence once more, he was on a completely different level now. Even though he was fighting 1 against 4, Longao was not only defending against their attacks, he was even starting to counterattack. Senior Evil Moon, please make your move. If they were to go all out, Mo Wutian and the others might not even be able to defeat them. However, at this point in time, the 3 of them each had their own ulterior motives and could not possibly go all out. Anyway, all the benefits would belong to Evil Moon when the time came. In that case, why should they go all out? Who knew what the situation was now? As the saying goes, it's better to be safe than sorry. If he went all out and provoked Longao, both sides would be injured, and he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. How could Evil Moon not know what the 3 were thinking? He was furious. However, this was not the time to be angry. Harumphing coldly, Zhang Xian took a step forward. Even before he arrived, his terrifying might had already reached Zhang Xian. Mo Wutian and the other 2, as well as the Candle Shadow godly beast, retreated to the side. They too wanted to see just how terrifying the legendary Evil Moon was. Legends were always legends. As for how strong Evil Moon was, the 3 of them did not know. The 3 of them had made up their minds. As long as Evil Moon was not as powerful as they imagined, they would not hesitate to kill him. As long as he could get the universal space, he would no longer need Evil Moon to deal with Longao. But in the end, as the saying went, once an expert made his move, one would know if he was the real deal. Evil Moon's strength was indeed horrifying. The 3 of them could feel it. If it were just the 3 of them, even if they were to join forces, they might not be a match for Evil Moon, let alone one-on-one. Furthermore, Evil Moon had the universal space in his hands, a heaven-defying legendary weapon that could lock down even Longao. If it were the Longao from earlier on, it would be impossible for him to fight against Evil Moon. But now, the situation was different. Longao had borrowed the boundless power of chaos from the Chaos Hall to take on Evil Moon's attack head-on. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Longao suddenly burst out laughing maniacally. He knew clearly that the reason why he could hold on till now was not because of his strength, but because of his Chaos Dantian. The moment the Chaos Dantian stopped gushing out, it would be impossible for him to even take on Imo Wutyin and the other two, let alone fight against Evil Moon. It would be best for him to make use of this opportunity to leave. Once his cultivation base broke through to the Chaos Reincarnation state, he would have the strength to fight against Evil Moon. Evil Moon, I will be back. Trying to leave? Evil Moon's attacks were getting more and more frenzied. From the beginning to the end, he had not taken Lin Fan seriously. If Lin Fan could escape from his universal space alive, where would he put his face? Evil Moon had full confidence in his universal space. How could a puny chaos life and death warrior leave alive? That would be utter nonsense. With just you? Longao immediately continued to operate his Chaos Dantian. Not only that, he even borrowed the power of the Chaos Tree to protect his primordial spirit. Under such circumstances, who knew what would happen? But with the protection of the Chaos Tree, there was no need to worry about his primordial spirit being damaged. However, Longao had ultimately underestimated Evil Moon's strength and the power of the universal space. Even if his Chaos Dantian were to burst out with boundless Chaos Dantian, he could not break through the universal space and leave successfully. If this went on, it would be disastrous. What should he do? Longao's expression became more and more solemn. But at this time, Longao did not have the slightest hesitation. He had to end the battle quickly. Under such circumstances, the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. The Chaos Axe appeared in his right hand. Since reaching the Chaos Realm, Longao had not used the Chaos Axe for a long time. In any case, the Chaos Axe was different from other Chaos Divine tools. The Chaos Axe was personally refined by him. If he wanted to continuously upgrade it, he would have to absorb more Chaos Force. Because of this, the Chaos Axe had been absorbing the Chaos Tree. After thousands of years, the power of the Chaos Axe had reached an extremely terrifying level. Longao also wanted to try and see if the power of the Chaos Axe could contend against Evil Moon, the last axe of the Chaos Nine Axes. As early as when he comprehended the transcendence of reincarnation, Longao had successfully comprehended the Chaos Ninth Axe. After all, the last axe was integrated with the transcendence of reincarnation. Boom! A loud sound rang out. The entire universal space began to tremble violently. Seeing this, Imo Wutyin and the other two retreated continuously. They looked at Longao in shock. They had underestimated Longao. With such a powerful attack, no one would be a match for Longao in a one-on-one battle. Could it be that Longao had been holding back before? Chapter 3267. Evil Moon was shocked as well. Longao's strength had far exceeded his knowledge. Longao, I have to admit that you are strong, but you're still just a chaotic life and death warrior. I'll let you know the difference between us. At this moment, Evil Moon truly wanted to kill Longao, and yet, Longao already possessed such power. It was hard to imagine. Once Longao's cultivation base broke through the Chaos Reincarnation state, what would he be like? When the time came, perhaps Longao could even fight against him. It would be a lie to say that Evil Moon wasn't worried. The next moment, the entire Qiankuan space was filled with thunder and lightning. Dark clouds covered the sky as Evil Moon's attacks exploded. Let's join forces. At this point, even Evil Moon no longer cared about face. As long as he could kill Longao, what did face matter? Everyone only cared about the results. Who would care about the process? Wutyin and the other two had not expected Longao to be this strong. The three of them, who had been watching the show from the sidelines, did not dare to hesitate. They joined forces with Evil Moon to deal with Longao. Even Wutyin did not hold back. Although he did not want to see anything happen to Judas, Longao's talent and strength made him wary. Once Longao recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm, not to mention the others, it was unknown whether even Evil Moon could contend against him. With the four of them and Judas working together, Longao, who had the upper hand, was once again at a disadvantage. Boom, boom, boom. Under the continuous attacks, Longao's body was sent flying like a kite with its string cut. He fell heavily to the ground. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. The four of them laughed maniacally as they looked at Longao. Now that things had come to this, Longao was dead for sure. Longao, you no longer have a chance. Even if you're willing to hand over what I want, you're still going to die. Nangong-in and Master God Diviner were pleasantly surprised. As long as Evil Moon could kill Longao, they would be able to control Longao's primordial spirit as fast as possible. As for Evil Moon, at that time, as long as they could practice the 9 Revolution Chaos formula and master all kinds of secrets, they could hide and practice. Once their strength made continuous breakthroughs, would they still need to fear Evil Moon? It was complete nonsense. As for Imo Wu Tian, with Longao's death, Evil Moon had acquired the Chaos Beast diagram. That meant Evil Moon would turn against Judas. Can Judas fight Evil Moon? Can I compete with Evil Moon? The result was obvious. Longao didn't say anything. He just looked coldly at the crowd in front of him. Just as Evil Moon was about to make a move, the situation suddenly changed. A ball of light suddenly appeared behind Longao. In just a few seconds, it had already condensed into a figure. Looking at the figure before him, Longao was dumbfounded. He never would have guessed that the figure behind him was none other than his own master, Master Xinyuan Invincible. Imo Wu Tian and the others didn't know who Master Xinyuan was, but that didn't mean Evil Moon didn't. Evil Moon stared at the figure behind Longao and bowed respectfully. Master Xinyuan. Imo Wu Tian and the others were dumbfounded by Evil Moon's attitude. They didn't know what was going on. Why was Evil Moon behaving like this? Evil Moon, this ends here. Impossible. Of course, Evil Moon knew that the current Xinyuan Bubi was only a remnant soul and not the original body. Of course, he didn't know that Xinyuan Bubi had already fallen. He was still wondering why Xinyuan Bubi had appeared out of nowhere and why a remnant soul had appeared. You want to go against my will? I wouldn't dare. Master Xinyuan, this is between me and Longao. I'll do as you say. Before Evil Moon could finish, Xinyuan Invincible said coldly, Scram. Imo Wu Tian and the others were dumbfounded. The three of them had already guessed that the remnant of Longao's soul was most likely a Tao Vindication cultivator. Otherwise, with Evil Moon's strength, how could he be so afraid of this person? Tao Vindication cultivators were legendary existences. Because of this, the three of them had never imagined that a Tao Vindication cultivator would help Longao. It was completely inconceivable. The other party was just a remnant of his soul. Whether or not he was a Tao Vindication cultivator, he didn't have any deterrence. Not only that, as long as they could devour the remnant of a Tao Vindication cultivator, it would greatly benefit their Tao Vindication. The three of them didn't know what was going on with Evil Moon. Didn't Evil Moon know the benefits of devouring a Tao Vindication cultivator? In just an instant, the three of them had already guessed what Evil Moon was thinking. If there were no surprises, Evil Moon wouldn't dare to say whether the Tao Vindication cultivator had really fallen. If the Tao Vindication cultivator hadn't fallen, then it would be troublesome. No matter how powerful a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator was, they were like ants in front of a Tao Vindication cultivator. As long as a Tao Vindication cultivator wanted to, killing a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator would be as easy as playing a game. Even a powerful existence like Evil Moon was no exception. Just as the three of them had guessed, the biggest reason why Evil Moon was so respectful and didn't dare to make a move was because he wasn't sure whether Xinyuan Invincible had fallen or not. After all, it was very difficult for a Tao Vindication cultivator to fall. Up until now, he had never heard of a Tao Vindication cultivator falling. Master, please. Evil Moon immediately withdrew his Chinku in space. Imo Wu Tian and the other two wanted to say something, but Evil Moon had already disappeared. The three of them didn't dare to gamble. If they won the gamble, then everything would be fine. If they lost the gamble, then they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it.
Master,
Looking at the remnant soul of Xinyuan invincible in front of him, Longao didn't know what to say for a moment. His master had completely disappeared back then, but he never expected that his master would appear at this time and even save his life. Your master had indeed disappeared before, but I didn't expect that the chaos tree you obtained would preserve a trace of your master's primordial spirit. That's why my primordial spirit could be preserved until now. It turned out that it was all because of the chaos tree. As the #1 treasure in the chaos realm, it was really amazing that it could preserve a trace of his master's primordial spirit. However, Longao knew very well that the reason why his master's primordial spirit could be preserved was not only because of the strength of the chaos tree, but also because his master was a Tao vindication cultivator. His primordial spirit was not comparable to that of an ordinary chaotic martial artist. Chapter 3268. Longao didn't stay any longer. Evil Moon left not because of himself, but because he was afraid of his master. In the end, Evil Moon wasn't sure if his master had really fallen. There was no doubt about it. If Evil Moon knew that his master had fallen and only existed as a remnant soul, the consequences would be unimaginable. The primordial spirit of a Tao-proving warrior was the greatest benefit for any chaotic martial artist. Evil Moon had already reached the peak of the chaotic reincarnation realm. If he devoured his master's primordial spirit, he might succeed in Tao-proving realm. He returned to his chaotic Dantian. Only at this moment did Longao truly heave a sigh of relief. Demon Palace. In the main hall, Evil Moon's face was gloomy and as ugly as it could get. Evil Moon never expected that Xinyuan Bubi would suddenly appear. Although he already felt that Xinyuan Bubi was only a remnant soul, he still didn't dare to attack. If Xinyuan Bubi really didn't fall, he would definitely die. Facing a Tao-proving warrior, he knew what it meant. What do you think? Mo Wuyin and the other two were very uncomfortable, but they had no choice. Under such circumstances, they could only endure. The three of them knew that once Evil Moon killed Longao and got what he wanted, he would leave. If they couldn't endure it, offending Evil Moon wasn't a wise move. Senior, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happened, Xinyuan Bubi has already died. Only a remnant soul has appeared. The three of them already knew Xinyuan Bubi's identity. Sure enough, Xinyuan Bubi was a doctrine vindication warrior. The more it was so, the more the three of them could not figure out why a doctrine vindication warrior would help Longao. They really couldn't figure it out. Senior, if Xinyuan Bubi hadn't fallen, we wouldn't have left so easily. Evil Moon nodded. How could he not know what the three of them meant? If Xinyuan Bubi has fallen, then why didn't Longao devour his primordial spirit? This was what Evil Moon couldn't figure out the most. Everyone knew very well what a primordial spirit left behind by a Tao-proving warrior meant. If one could devour the primordial spirit of a Tao-proving warrior, they might succeed in Tao-proving realm. That was the reason. Why didn't Longao devour Xinyuan Bubi's primordial spirit? The three of them looked at each other. They already knew what Evil Moon was thinking. Master God Diviner thought for a moment and said, Senior, the relationship between the two of them might not be simple. He waved his hand. Evil Moon said coldly, Go and find out what's going on for me. Yes. As dignified chaotic samsara warriors, the three of them were very unwilling to listen to Evil Moon's orders. But so what if he was unwilling? Even if the three of them joined forces, plus the Zhuin Divine Beast, they might not be a match for Evil Moon. There was no need to provoke Evil Moon. The news of Evil Moon and the other three fighting Longao quickly spread throughout the 99 heavens of the Chaos Realm. Everyone had already received the news that just as Longao was about to die, the primordial spirit of a martial artist had suddenly descended, scaring away Evil Moon and the others. Martial artist of Tao validation? Anyone who received the news was shocked, because everyone knew what it meant to be a martial artist. It was a legendary existence. No one could understand why Longao would have the help of a martial artist. Even though it was only a primordial spirit, it was still no small matter. Even the four primal chaos samsara warriors were scared away. From this, One could imagine how terrifying a martial artist was. This martial artist was Xinyuan Bubi. Many people knew Xinyuan Bubi, but they never thought that Xinyuan Bubi was actually a legendary martial artist. The one who was most shocked was Gu Hao. After searching for so many years, he still couldn't find the whereabouts of Xinyuan Bubi. Other than wanting to obtain the burning heart lotus, Gu Hao also wanted to devour his master's primordial spirit. If that was the case, he might have a chance to succeed. It was just that after so many years of being clueless, he didn't expect that Xinyuan Bubi's primordial spirit would actually appear at this time. Others might not know, but as Xinyuan Bubi's disciple, Gu Hao naturally knew that his master had already fallen, and had truly fallen. No matter how powerful the primordial spirit of a fallen martial artist was, it was impossible for him to be a match for a primal chaos samsara warrior. There was no doubt about that. The chance had come. There was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. Soon, Evil Moon and the others had already received the news regarding the matter between Xinyuan Bubi and Gu Hao. They knew that Xinyuan Bubi had truly fallen, which meant that the remnant soul that appeared before was a true primordial spirit. Facing a primordial spirit, even if it was the primordial spirit of a martial artist, Evil Moon and the others did not have the slightest bit of fear. Not only were they not afraid, they were instead pleasantly surprised, because everyone knew what it meant to devour the primordial spirit of a martial artist. However, since he already knew that Xinyuan Bubi had truly fallen, there was no harm to him at all. Evil Moon was very regretful. If he had bet on his luck before, he might have already devoured Xinyuan Bubi's luck. However, it was too late to regret now. Evil Moon's face was gloomy. The primal chaos realm was boundless, and it was easier said than done to find a needle in the sea. As if he could guess what Evil Moon was thinking, the divine mathematician said, "Senior, Longao's base is in the Blackstone Heavenly region." At this point, the divine mathematician did not continue speaking, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Evil Moon was not a fool. How could he not understand the meaning behind his words? Evil Moon suddenly stood up and said coldly, "I don't believe that you can play any tricks." In the next second, Evil Moon's figure had already disappeared. Until now, Emo Wutian's face finally turned cold. He stared at the two people in front of him and said coldly, "What do you two mean by this? Do you know what it means to do this behind my back?" The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. There was no doubt that once Evil Moon killed Longao and obtained the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts, he would definitely turn around to deal with him and the Zhuin Divine Beast. At that time, everything would be fine if he handed over the Zhuin Divine Beast. Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician did not put him in their eyes. As long as they could kill Longao and obtain the 9 Revolution Chaos Technique, everything would be worth it. So what if they provoked Emo Wutian? In this world, there were no eternal enemies, and no eternal friends, only benefits. Previously, they had a common enemy, Longao, so they had temporarily joined forces. Now that Longao was going to die, was there a need to continue working together? Chapter 3269. Emo Wutian, what's the point of sacrificing Judas to deal with Longao? That's right, Emo Wutian. Don't try to provoke us. Otherwise, it won't just be Judas, it'll be you. The murderous aura emanating from Master Clairvoyant and Nangong Yin made their stance clear. If Emo Wutian had the Candle Shadow Beast, then the outcome of the battle would be unknown. But now, the two didn't put Emo Wutian in their eyes. It was almost certain. Once Evil Moon finished dealing with Longao, he'd move on to Judas. Without Judas' help, how could Emo Wutian defeat the two of them? You two. He waved a hand. Master Clairvoyant's voice was cold. Emo Wutian, if you know what's good for you, we'll pretend nothing ever happened. If you're looking for trouble, we'll entertain you. As soon as he finished speaking, the two didn't linger. They got up and left the palace. The reason why they stayed in the Demon Palace was mainly to deal with Longao. The current Longao, thinking about it, knew what kind of consequences there would be. There was no point in continuing to stay. Emo Wutian stared at the departing pair. His fists were clenched tight, and his heart was filled with endless rage. So what if he was angry? Facing two primal chaos reincarnation martial artists, just relying on his own strength was not enough to win. Once they broke all pretense of cordiality, he'd go for wool and come home shorn, much less kill them. Did he really have to sacrifice Judas? After Nangong Een and Master Clairvoyant left the palace, they hurried back to Blackstone as quickly as possible. They'd already made up their minds to seize Longao's primordial spirit as soon as they could. For the sake of proving their Tao, they didn't hesitate to provoke Evil Moon. Anyway, the chaotic world was so big. If they wanted to hide, it would not be easy for Evil Moon to find them in the vast sea of people, no matter how powerful he was. Blackstone Domain. Longao hadn't yet returned to Blackstone, and he didn't expect Evilmoon's status to be so high as to make a move against his people. Evilmoon's figure appeared, his cold eyes fixed on Dragon Peak below. Longao, get your ass out here. His voice rolled out, echoing throughout the world. Countless disciples appeared on Dragon Peak. They all looked up at the towering figure in the sky, unsure of who he was. With Dragon Peak's current strength, someone daring to provoke them. Did he want to die? Although Dragon Sect's sect leader Longao's cultivation had not broken through to Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm, his strength was enough to contend against Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm ancient martial art practitioners. What did that mean? The Five Elements Patriarch rushed out and arrived in the blink of an eye. Senior, may I know why you are looking for our sect master? If you don't appear in 3 seconds, I'll destroy the Dragon Sect. The Elementals, Evilmoons. Of course, he could clearly sense that the other party's aura was far above his own. In the absence of the Sect Master and Madam Sect Master, he did not even have a chance to resist against a chaotic Samsara Realm warrior. What should he do? It seems. Before Evil Moon finished speaking, the Five Elements Patriarch directly disappeared with the help of the Chaos Five Elements Stone. Do you want to leave? Evil Moon waved his hand at the Five Elementals, who was thousands of meters away. The Five Elementals screamed, and his body fell. Evil Moon knew very well that there were only two possibilities. Either Longao was not in the Dragon Peak at all, or Longao was too scared to come out. No matter what the situation was, he did not want to see it. Destroy the entire Dragon Sect. No one in Dragon Sect could contend with Evil Moon. With just one move, hundreds of thousands of disciples were wiped out. The news of Dragon Sect being massacred instantly spread throughout the chaotic world. Everyone was shocked. After all, Longao and Qin Shuangshuang were equivalent to two chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists. Not to mention ordinary people, even other super forces would not dare to do so casually. There was only one consequence of doing so, and that was to incur the wrath of Longao. Who was the other party? When everyone found out that the person who destroyed the Dragon Sect was actually the legendary Evil Moon, the strongest person under the Tao validation, everyone sighed because Evil Moon's strength was too strong. Not to mention Longao. Even if several other Primal Chaos Reincarnation warriors joined forces, it was impossible to be his opponent. Evil Moon was too strong. No wonder he dared to destroy Dragon Sect. Longao, who got the news, rushed back to Blackstone Heavenly Region as fast as he could, but he didn't appear recklessly. With his current strength, he couldn't compete with Evil Moon. If he fought with him, he knew what the consequences would be. In an extremely dilapidated town in Blackstone Heavenly Region, inside the inn, looking at the Five Elements' old ancestor who was lying on the bed with his life or death unknown, Longao was extremely gloomy. When the Five Elements' old ancestor escaped and entered a state of unconsciousness, he sent a distress signal to himself. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to find the traces of the Five Elements' old ancestor in such a short period of time. Brother Long, don't worry. Five Elemental Ancestor is fine. After Longao's all-out treatment, Five Elemental Ancestor's life was finally saved. Among the Chaos Reincarnation Warriors, Five Elemental Ancestor's strength could definitely be ranked in the top 10. But in the end, he couldn't even withstand one move from an expert like Evil Moon. Longao nodded. At this time, Five Elemental Ancestor coughed twice and gradually woke up. Looking at the two people in front of him, 5 elemental ancestor endured the bursts of pain in his body and roughly explained what had happened before. I already know. It's safer here. You can rest here quietly and put aside the matter of Dragon Sect. 5 elemental ancestor certainly knew what Longao meant. He nodded and fainted again. After the two left, Qin Shuangshuang asked, Brother Long, what are you going to do next? In fact, Qin Shuangshuang had already guessed Longao's idea. In this case, continuing to restore Dragon Sect was unrealistic and meaningless. In the face of Evilmoon's formidable strength, even if Dragon Sect could be restored, what could it do? Shuangshuang, if there is no accident, Evilmoon should have already known about the news of Master's death. Unless my cultivation base can smoothly restore to the Chaos Reincarnation realm, otherwise, we can't contend with Evilmoon at all. Qin Shuangshuang also had a helpless expression on her face. According to Longao's talent, he should have already broken through to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. But in the end, after thousands of years, Longao's cultivation base still hadn't broken through. It was a bit strange. Even Longao himself couldn't explain it clearly and didn't know what was going on. Chapter 3270. Very helpless. Longao's face was particularly solemn. Of course, he knew what it meant if he could not make a breakthrough in his cultivation. The months of evil had already exceeded his expectations. Imo Wutian and the others could not be compared with Evilmoon at all. Inside the chaotic Dantian, Longao sat quietly alone. This incident seemed to be a big blow to him. Without a strong strength as a guarantee, everything was nonsense. Evilmoon destroyed the entire Dragon Sect with just one move. Now that he thought about it, he felt scared. If he had not destroyed the 9 Chaos Channels before, Evilmoon would have locked on to Dragon's soaring starry sky. He knew what the consequences would have been, although he was depressed. Until now, Longao did not know why he could not make a breakthrough in his cultivation. It was too strange. With regards to his own talent, Longao had full confidence. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was not right. His own chaotic sacred body alone was not the biggest obstacle to his breakthrough. What was the reason? He could not figure it out. He really could not figure it out. On the other side of the chaotic Dantian, Sister Shuangshuang, is Brother Ao okay? Looking at Brother Long, who was sitting calmly and motionlessly, Yun Xian and the others were very worried. They did not know what had happened at all. But the three vaguely guessed that the biggest reason why Brother Long was so upset was that he could not make a breakthrough in his realm. No matter who it was, they would definitely be the same. After 3,000 years of closed-door cultivation, he still could not break through the final bottleneck. Qin Shuangshuang shook her head helplessly, sighed and said, I don't know, but it is a bit strange that Brother Long could not make a breakthrough in such a long time. Under normal circumstances, Longao's cultivation had to break through the chaotic reincarnation realm to be able to comprehend the fourth great power, the peak of reincarnation transcendence. But now, Longao's cultivation had not broken through the chaotic reincarnation realm, but he had successfully comprehended reincarnation transcendence. It was a bit strange. In the end, Longao stood up and sighed deeply. No matter how he thought about it, he still could not figure out the reason. Brother Long, are you okay? He shrugged helplessly. Longao forced a smile and said, It's nothing. I just don't understand why I'm stuck at a bottleneck. Qin Shuangshuang was also stunned. She knew what Brother Long meant. His cultivation base had already reached the pinnacle of the primal chaos samsara realm. He was just one step away from breaking through the primal chaos samsara realm. However, this was the final step. He could already rule out the possibility that his cultivation could not break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, not because of the primal chaos sacred body. Brother Long, what should we do now? If his cultivation base couldn't return to the chaotic reincarnation realm, it meant that he couldn't fight against Evilmoon and the others. He couldn't even kill Imo Wutian and the others. If this continued, it wouldn't work. Longao didn't say anything else because the current situation was very unfavorable to them. It was just as Longao had guessed. Ever since Evilmoon destroyed the Dragon Sect, He had not left the Black Stone heavenly region. In his opinion, as long as Longao received the news of the destruction of the dragon sect, he would definitely come back. But what was the result? Whether it was Evil Moon on the surface or Nangong Yin and the marvelous mathematician behind the scenes, they had already guessed that under such circumstances, as long as Longao wasn't out of his mind, he wouldn't come back casually. In the vast sea of people, trying to find a trace of a person was like looking for a needle in the sea. Although the three of them were all primal chaos reincarnation realm warriors, they didn't have their own strength. In this way, it was more and more difficult to lock onto a person's trace. This was also the most troublesome thing for the three of them. The destruction of the dragon sect, the arrival of a primordial spirit realm warrior, and Longao was almost killed. These three things were like a tornado, sweeping through the entire 99 heavenly regions of the primal chaos realm. There was a lot of discussion everywhere. Longao had disappeared, and Evil Moon and the others were chasing after Longao. Even if they had the help of a primordial spirit realm warrior, it was still nonsense. No matter how powerful a primordial spirit realm warrior was, a primordial spirit realm warrior was not enough. Not to mention a powerful existence like Evil Moon. Even an ordinary primal chaos reincarnation realm warrior could easily destroy a primordial spirit realm warrior. Not only that, everyone knew that if they could successfully devour a primordial spirit realm warrior, they might be able to use the primordial spirit realm warrior to successfully validate their Tao. Everyone knew that Evil Moon and the others were so anxious to kill Longao. In addition to their own grievances, the more important reason was that a primordial spirit realm warrior had appeared beside Longao. It was just as everyone had guessed. For Evil Moon, as long as he could devour Xinyuan Bubi's primordial spirit, he didn't care about the 9 revolution chaos formula, the chaos divine beast diagram, and the 9 divine beasts of chaos. Because of this, Evil Moon was regretting to the extreme. If he had gambled before, he might have succeeded in validating his Tao. However, it was too late to regret now. If he wanted to devour a primordial spirit realm warrior, he had to find Longao. Otherwise, everything would be nonsense. Han Wu and Sangya also received the news, but the two of them didn't intervene in this matter. What Evil Moon meant, the two of them were very clear in their hearts. If they forcefully intervened, it would definitely attract a lot of trouble. They simply didn't want to offend Evil Moon for a Longao. It was unknown if it was because they were afraid of Evil Moon. No matter if it was the Domain Lords Alliance or the Pill Hall, they all began to stop fighting. Gu Hao and Imo Wutian were the same. The primal chaos world returned to its previous calm. Soulbreak Valley. Duan Hun was very depressed. Of course, he knew that the 9 revolution chaos formula that Longao taught him was still lacking the last step. It was also the most crucial step. Without this step, even if he cultivated to the peak, it was still nonsense. If it was in the past, he would still have the nerve to speak. But now, no matter how thick his face was, he wasn't willing to continue speaking. The more he thought about it, the more depressed he became. If it was any other primal chaos reincarnation realm warrior, even if it was the god of slaughter Duanmu Jin, he wouldn't be afraid. Only this legendary Evil Moon. If Evil Moon really killed Longao, it would be difficult for him to obtain the complete 9 revolution chaos formula in the future. Duan Hun tried to perfect the 9 revolution chaos formula himself, but in the end, he found that he still underestimated Longao's talent. He couldn't perfect this cultivation technique. It was really a pain in the ass. What should he do? Should he provoke Evil Moon for Longao? If he couldn't defeat Evil Moon, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. At this moment, Duan Hun was in a dilemma. No matter what, it was his fault. After all, Longao didn't say anything and passed the 9 revolution chaos formula to him. It was already far beyond his expectations. Chapter 3271. Soulbreak Valley. Looking at Longao who suddenly appeared in front of him, Duan Hun stood up directly with a face full of disbelief. Duan Hun would never have thought that Longao would appear at this time. Brother Long, he waved his hand. Longao certainly knew what Duan Hun meant. He felt that this person was not bad. Although he was both good and evil, Compared to the marvelous mathematician and others, he was still very good. Duan Hun, I came to you this time mainly to tell you that the 9-revolution chaos formula I taught you before is not real at all. Huh. He was a little confused. What was going on? Duan Hun didn't know what Longao meant. Why did he tell him all of a sudden? According to normal circumstances, since the 9-revolution chaos formula taught by the other party was fake, Longao shouldn't have told him. Brother Long, what are you doing? Duan Hun, forgive me for being blunt. I still have some grudges with you before. It's impossible for me to hand over the 9-revolution chaos formula for no reason. What do you think? Duan Hun nodded. Although he didn't say anything, he agreed. Longao's meaning was very simple. He just wanted to make friends with Duan Hun. Now my situation is very bad. I believe you also know that I want to make friends with you. I don't know if you are willing. Go on. Duan Hun didn't express his attitude clearly because he knew very well what kind of friend Longao was talking about. Life and death friends. Before, not to mention Longao, even Duan Hun didn't treat Longao as a friend. Otherwise, when Evil Moon and others wanted to deal with Longao, he wouldn't have stood back. I can help you create a suitable cultivation method for you according to your situation. Before Longao finished speaking, the situation suddenly changed. A terrifying aura descended. Evil Moon looked at the two people in front of him coldly. The universe space had already enveloped the entire Soul Break Valley in an instant. As for whether Longao was in Soul Break Valley, Evil Moon didn't have full confidence. However, the chaotic world was too big. It was too difficult to lock onto Longao's position. Looks like my luck is pretty good. Looking at Evil Moon in front of them, both Duan Hun and Longao were shocked. The Soul Break Valley had been enveloped by the Chinku in space. Longao did not care much about Evil Moon's strength. The only thing he was afraid of was the Chinku in space in Evil Moon's hands. Once he was enveloped by the Chinku in space, he would not be able to enter the chaotic Dantian. Longao naturally knew what it meant for him to be unable to enter the chaotic Dantian. He felt helpless. Longao, do you still want to run? I never thought of running. Ha ha ha, looks like my luck is pretty good. Longao, seeing that your cultivation is not easy, I can give you a chance. Longao didn't speak, and neither did Duan Hun. In Evil Moon's opinion, Longao must be afraid if he didn't speak. Previously, he was able to run away because he wasn't sure if Xinyuan Bubi was alive or dead. Now, he was sure that it was impossible for Longao to leave alive. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Longao, I can give up your 9-revolution chaos formula. I can also give up your Chaos Divine Beast diagram and the 9 Chaos Divine Beasts. Longao wasn't very interested in these because even if he got them, it was still unknown whether he could succeed in proving his Tao. However, proving his Tao was a different concept. If he could devour the Tao-proving primordial spirit, his chances of success would be much higher. Longao, as long as you hand over the Tao-proving primordial spirit, *T, before Evil Moon could finish speaking, Longao had already said coldly, even if Evil Moon was a Tao-proving warrior, he could do whatever he wanted, not to mention that Evil Moon was only in the chaotic reincarnation realm. Instead of being angry, he laughed. Longao, I have to admit that your courage is commendable, but it doesn't matter. I will search your soul later. I just hope you won't regret it. Evil Moon didn't continue to talk nonsense. Instead, he looked at Duan Hun, who was beside Longao. His meaning was very simple. Although his strength could firmly suppress Duan Hun, he still didn't want to completely fall out with Duan Hun unless it was a last resort. Duan Hun was not a fool. Of course, he knew what Evil Moon meant. If it were in the past, he would definitely choose to compromise without hesitation. For Longao, he chose to provoke Evil Moon. As long as he was not stupid, he would definitely not do that. But now, Longao had just said that he could tailor a cultivation method that was most suitable for him. If it was someone else who said this, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Only Longao. Duan Hun already believed in Longao's words. Throughout the entire chaotic realm, not everyone could create the 9-revolution chaos formula. After thinking about it, Duan Hun nodded and said, The grievances between you have nothing to do with me. Goodbye." It seemed that he didn't want to say anything more. Duan Hun turned around and left. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Longao was also very helpless. He originally thought that Duan Hun was a good person and could make friends with him. Now it seemed that he thought too much. But after thinking about it, he felt relieved. If he faced an ordinary chaotic samsara warrior, it would be fine. But in the face of a powerful existence like Evil Moon, it was normal for him to choose to retreat. He and Duan Hun were not only not friends, but even had some grievances. It could be said that in this case, it was very good that Duan Hun did not hit him when he was down. Ha 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 ha. Evil Moon liked this feeling very much. Although he had not dealt with Duan Hun, he had heard various legends about him. An expert of this level was infinitely close to him, but there was still a certain gap. Looking at Duan Hun running away, Evil Moon looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. "Longao, I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over your primordial spirit and everything you have, and I can let you go." Unless it was a last resort, Evil Moon still did not want to use force. Who knew what Duan Hun would do? What he wanted most now was Xinyuan Bubi's primordial spirit. As for Longao's life and death, he did not care at all. Thinking that he was about to get his primordial spirit, Evil Moon had a deep excitement. After so many years of closed-door cultivation, he had been unable to succeed. Now that things had come to this, even if there was a little hope of success, he would never choose to give up easily. Longao was very depressed. As long as he could not think of a way to deal with the Chinku in space, he would always be at a disadvantage. The more he thought about it, the more depressed he became. "Do you want to die? Evil Moon, do you think you will win this time?" Hearing Duan Hun's words, Evil Moon's heart moved. Could it be that Duan Hun still had something to rely on? Evil Moon was more or less afraid of this legendary super genius who was infinitely close to becoming a primordial spirit. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.